Welcome to Nimmin Live, the #1 place on the internet to learn about YouTube, network with other content creators, and have an awesome time doing it. My name is Nick, and today I'm going to be answering your questions about YouTube and what it is that you're trying to do on YouTube and just the process of being a content creator. So if you're a content creator for YouTube, there's a lot of stuff that you might have on your mind in terms of, things that you want to know, things that you just want more insight about, maybe even some, little tactics and tricks and things like that that can help you excel here on the platform. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. But there is a form down in the description of this video right now. Down in that form is where you can put your question and they are answered in the order that they're received. Now, of course, we're going to be pulling some out of the chat as well. But this is the organized way to get your question answered. And just as a heads up, if your question doesn't get answered here, there's a good chance that it might also come up as a video or maybe a podcast topic or something like that. So make sure that you do get your question down there in the form. If we do answer your question anywhere, you will get credit for that, in terms of, just mentioning your channel or whatever it happens to be. So just as a heads up, that form is down in the description below. Make sure you get your question in there now, because if you're watching this, you're an early bird, or you're watching it on the replay, which means you're really late. So you got to make sure to join us every Saturday at 9 a.m. Eastern so that you can get your questions answered as well. But if you are watching this on the replay, I do want to let you know that this live stream is value-packed with information about YouTube and being a content creator. So you want to make sure that you hang out, maybe you skip through and skim through some of the things here in the live stream, because I guarantee you, regardless of where it is that you're at in the process, if you're just getting started or if you have experience on YouTube, you're still going to learn something here on Nimmin Live. So with that out of the way, I want to let you know that this stream today is brought to you by TubeBuddy, the #1 browser plugin for YouTube content creators. TubeBuddy will help you optimize your videos for discovery. TubeBuddy will help you A/B test your thumbnails so that you can make sure that the thumbnails that you're making are effective. And when I say A/B test, what I mean by that is you can compare thumbnails against each other. So you have two thumbnails that are loaded in, and then it swaps them back and forth, and then it gives you a bunch of information letting you know which one performs better on the platform in terms of getting the click. But that and a bunch of other awesome features, but it's an entire tool built for YouTube content creators. So you want to make sure you check it out at tubebuddy.com/Nimmin. There's also a direct link in the description. And if you're new, in terms of under 1,000 subscribers, I believe it is, you actually get a discount if you decide to upgrade. But you don't have to. You can actually use the free features if you want, but you'll want to upgrade once you see what TubeBuddy can do for you. In addition to that, this stream is also brought to you by StreamYard. StreamYard is the live streaming platform that I use to live stream this every single Saturday. So, you can see I've got them here on my shirt. I've got their logo here on the coffee cup. And I'm also running this entire live stream through their software. So basically what StreamYard is it's the easiest live streaming platform you'll ever use. They allow you to add graphics to your live streams and bring in guests just with a few clicks, everything. It's the easiest thing you'll ever use, but you can try it out for yourself for free at StreamYard.com. So hope everybody had a great week. Hope everybody is rocking and rolling and ready to learn some stuff today. If you have a notepad, you might want to go ahead and get it out, because just like every Saturday, of course, we're going to be sharing tons of information over the course of this live stream today. We've already got a handful of questions in here, and I hope that we can get to yours. So make sure if you haven't put your question in the form down below that you go ahead and do that now so that we can try to get it answered here on the show. In addition to that, I might end up having some guests join me later today, later in the stream. So you want to make sure that you hang out for that, because we always have a pretty awesome crew in here that comes in and live streams and shares a bunch of information from a bunch of different perspectives, from a bunch of different experiences around YouTube and being a content creator. So you want to make sure that you're hanging out for that as well. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the questions. So really quick, somebody mentioned here, Nick, Org says, Nick, please address the new YouTube exploit. So if you, thanks for bringing that up. So if you are a content creator, there's a video put out recently talking about, a way that you can use your community feed in order to get your stuff in front of a lot more people. Since that video has come out, I've been running some tests on that, and I know some friends have as well. So I don't have anything definitive on it, but the video is pretty convincing, but I don't have anything definitive on that personally yet. But as I do find out information on that, I'll let you know. But in reality, if it was something that could be exploited and they made a public video about it, there's a really good chance that YouTube put a cap on it. So just as a heads up there, the idea with it, just so you guys know what it is that basically share stuff in your community feed. And one of the things that they were actually doing in this situation technically is actually a violation of the community guidelines, because that particular channel, what they were doing was they were actually keyword stuffing their community posts. And I encourage you not to do this because it can get you in trouble. But basically, they were keyword stuffing their posts. And what was happening is it was causing those posts to be associated based on how YouTube works in terms of them showing things to people that they're proven to be interested in based on things that they watch, things that they don't watch, things they click on, things that they don't, things that they share, things they don't, and so on, things they search for, and so on. But basically, what happened is it started making these posts relevant to a bunch of people that normally it wouldn't be relevant to. So, because of that, this particular channel is claiming that them and a bunch of other successful content creators have been able to leverage this thing in order to, get a lot of views and things like that. So now that the cat's out of the bag, like I said, there's a really good chance that if all of that is legitimate, that it's probably going to have a cap put on it, relatively soon, or there'll be something else attached to it. They'll make some change in order to avoid people from trying to game the system, so to speak. Because again, just as a refresher, when you do try to game the system, so to speak, in terms of trying to exploit the platform, that is actually against the guidelines of YouTube. Now, of course, if you do find something that you can leverage strategically like that, as long as you're doing it within the guidelines, then it's okay. But within the guidelines, right, you have to make sure that you are playing by the rules, because if you're not, you can lose your channel over it. So just be mindful of that when it comes to this sort of thing. So the very first question that we have here today. Hey, what's up, Beanie? Nice to see you, man. Pixel Pagan, nice to see you in the house as well. Shark Scrapper, what is up? Hope you're doing great. Baking with Charlene, hope that you are also doing awesome today. So basically, the first question that we have today, not basically, I mean, it's just what it is. It's the first question we have, is from Zane Shah. Zane Shah says they've been on YouTube for less than 1 year. It's an how-to e-commerce channel, and the goal of the channel is to provide value. And the question is, how to edit videos in a way which will help to increase audience retention, say excellent question, and record for Nimmin Extra. So basically, when it comes to increasing your audience retention, there are best practices, right? In terms of, getting to the content quickly, if the type of content that you support, or not that you support, but if the type of content that you make is something that needs to get to the content quickly, then of course, you want to try to get to your content as quickly as possible. So typically, what has been proven to be effective time and time again on YouTube is when people click on the video, you basically reinforce the idea of what it is that they are getting ready to experience in your video. I've been doing this since my very first video on YouTube. But basically, when the video first opens, you just confirm, hey, this is what this video is about, and then you get into the actual content itself. Now, the mistakes that people make that cost them audience retention is these big long intros and just rattling on about a bunch of stuff that nobody cares about before the video. I actually watched a video the other day, and I won't say the name of the channel, but this particular channel, they were talking about, it was like marketing advice or something, but it took like 45 seconds to get to anything related to anything marketing related. They have like a logo intro, a call to action to subscribe in there. Graphically, they had like this like cool looking like vlog sequence in like Indonesia, I think it was. And they had like all this stuff. And it's like, dude, what are you doing? You're missing the boat here in terms of giving the person what it is that they expected when they click. So in terms of keeping people watching, that's something that can be beneficial to just get to the juice, right? Get to what it is that they came for. And in addition to that, there's other things that you can do as well. Like if you start getting a little bit more high level, and that is things like, it's called opening a loop when you are in your content, and basically you start opening up new ideas. So when you start opening up new ideas, you're basically teasing additional content that's going to happen. Or when you start opening those loops, you're teasing content that's going to happen. So as an example, let's say that I was making videos about coffee, right? And I'm making videos about coffee. And one of the things that, let's say that you clicked on my video, right? And when you clicked on my video, you expected for me to show you how to make the perfect cup of coffee, right? So as I'm showing you how to make the perfect cup of coffee, an example of opening a loop would be where I would say something along the lines of, as I'm pouring the coffee in and, all that stuff, I could say something like, and another thing that you can do when you're trying to make, just the perfect cup of coffee is you can actually do something really special with the beans that will really help the flavors just really pop out of the beans. I'm going to show you that right here in a minute. But anyway, and then you start talking about what it is that you're talking about. Well, what you just did there is you created that idea with somebody that, oh, well, they're getting ready to tell me more stuff that's going to make the coffee even better. So in addition to what it is that I came into this video for, I'm also going to get a bonus thing that's also going to help me make better coffee as well. So then what you do is you open that up. And then as the video goes on, then you close that down by delivering on what it was that you were saying you were going to do. And then of course you open up another one depending on the length of your content and so on and exactly what it is that you're doing. Now, Crazed Plays, what's up? Hope you're doing great. But basically, another thing to think about too is I know some of these things, right? Like that one, as an example, like the opening loops. Typically, that's one of the things that will pertain to talking head videos, right? Where somebody's sitting there talking. It'll pertain to vlog channels. Anything where somebody's on the screen and they're talking, they're able to keep expressing that. But some things that doesn't necessarily apply to as much are things like gaming. So how many gamers do we have here? Just give me a hashtag me if you're a gamer. And I saw a channel membership come in and I saw some super chats come in as well. And I'll get to those right here in a second. But basically when you are gaming as an example, one of the things that you can do in this situation to where it's the same idea, but you kind of do it in a different way is when you are playing the game, you might want to talk about a side thing that you're getting ready to do. So, let's say that you're doing a Let's Play video. In that situation, you're going through and you're playing. And then as you're doing the commentary of it, or as you're actually playing that game, then one of the things that you can do to open that loop up is you can say, yeah, as soon as I'm done with this, I'm actually going to show you, this too, or we're going to go do this. So then what you're doing there is you're just teasing future content. Now, in addition to that helping your audience retention, another thing that can do is that can also help people subscribe so that they can come back for additional content as well. So, like on my channel, for example, if I had a video and I'm talking about, something about YouTube, and then I say something along the lines of, and I've got some really, this exploit on YouTube that I want to bring your attention to, but I'm not going to do it in this video, but the next video I publish, I'll share it in that video. Then in that situation, what you're doing is you're opening the loop on the channel to where then that person that's watching that video is like, oh, I got to make sure I watch that next video. I got to make sure I subscribe now and watch that next video so that I can get that additional information that's going to be shared in the additional video. So you can apply that for most of the content that you make. Now, if you're doing animations, things like that, it's a little bit different because you're relying on storytelling specifically. But in a lot or most types of content, you can use those things to improve your audience retention. In addition to that, you can also do things to where you're making sure that you're not ending the videos verbally, or that you're just not finalizing the video before you have the option for somebody to click on an end screen. And what I mean by that is saying things at the end like, oh, and that's how you XYZ, or, hey, we did it. We just beat the game. Right? Because then if you do that and then you have this long sequence after, if people come in to see you beat the game, then in that situation, they see you beat the game and then they got what they came in for, they're out of there before you have the option for them to click something on the screen. So you want to make sure that you end your videos quickly or abruptly at the end to where as soon as the content that they came in for is finished, then you drop your end screen on them to where you have options on the screen. You can keep talking, but just make sure that it's within that last 20 seconds so that you can have options on the screen for them to click on to watch additional content of yours. On Locust Live, man, this worked a second ago. It'll work. I'm just going to give it a second. Welcome to the Nimminati, and it's going to kick off right here in a second on its own, but welcome to the Nimminati. Make sure, there we go.
Welcome to the Nimminati.
Oh my God, here on my head. Do I have something on my head? I think I got a mosquito bite. No. Okay, so welcome to the Nimminati. Make sure that you join our members only Facebook group. If you go to facebook.com and you look for Nimminati VIP, that is our members only Facebook group. And in that Facebook group, you want to make sure that you're filling out all the details on the way in, because that's how I verify that you are a channel member. And since you just joined just now, by the time the stream is finished, hey, Renee, what's up, man? By the time this video is finished, one of the things that I'm going to do is actually just wrap it up for the day. So I'll actually approve you in the Facebook group on Monday as soon as I sit down in front of the computer. Brian G. Johnson in the house. What's up, Brian G. Johnson? What is up, man? Hope that you are doing fantastic. All right, so let's see here. Next up on our list, we've got, and that was a pretty long one there on audience retention. And just a heads up, if you are somebody that is looking to have, somebody help you with your audience retention and like edit your videos and stuff like that, we started a video editing service called VidCharge. If you go to vidcharge.com, you can go to the package page there. And if you're interested in having your videos edited and it's a premium service, just as a heads up. So it's not like a chop shop, so to speak. But if you are interested in having somebody edit your videos and you also want some additional stuff on top of that, just go to vidcharge.com, click on the packages page, and you'll see some information on exactly what it is that we're offering over there. Okay, so next up on our list, I need to go into the super chats real quick so I can answer those. And then I will, while that page is loading, I'm going to hit another question really quick so we can keep this party on the road. Okay, so next up we have The channel name is Inspire Student Leadership. They upload 1 time per week or more. The type of channel is growth and information. And the goal of the channel is to grow and inspire students to grow and inspire others. And the question, is it necessary to create a separate channel to post clips of your live streams? I noticed you and others have done this. Is it necessary or required, or can the clips be on the same channel as the live stream rewatch? The clips can be on the same channel. The reason that I do that is, hey, what's up, Dr. Sten? Hope that you're doing awesome, man. The reason that hey, Steve McDonald, what's up, man? Hope you're doing great too. The reason that I do that is because when I publish one of the replays, even though the content itself is rock solid, I mean, it's the stuff that you get here on the live stream, even though the actual content itself is rock solid, it's not formatted in a way that is fantastic for the replay. So for example, like I'll be upfront with you, like the retention on my live clips is abysmal compared to what I get on my actual videos. And it's because of what people expect when they actually click into those. They're expecting, maybe an edited video, I'm guessing. But what they get is they basically just get a snippet of what's happening here. So it comes in and it's all of a sudden, there's no setup, there's no anything. It's just like, hey, this is what we're talking about. And then, we go through the content and then the video ends. So, because of that, the retention on those is not fantastic. They still get views. YouTube is still showing them to people, but they're just not my best. It's not my best content. So because of that, I don't want to pollute my channel with it. Now, with these live streams, of course, it makes sense for me to go live here because this is where the audience is, so to speak. So it makes sense for me to be able to get in front of more people by going live here. But for the actual replays themselves, or for the replays are fine too, but for the actual clips themselves, it's not what I want to present on my channel normally. And hey, Roger, what's up, man? Hope you're doing awesome. So one of the things, Roger's saying that he's on a mobile, so he can't tag everybody. So one of the things, I'm actually going to show you this really quick and just show you the impact of the live streams on my YouTube channel. I was looking at this the other day and I was just laughing at how graphically you can see what it looks like. So let me make sure I can show you this without, showing too much info here. But if you look at the drops right here, those are right after live streams. So those big canyons, right? When I live stream, when these start getting put in front of people that are already subscribed, for the people that don't participate in the streams, they, like I lose a lot of subscribers from doing these live streams. Okay, so next up on the list here, we got growth and information necessary. Okay, we got that. And then let me go in here and answer a couple of the super chat questions here. So Romantic, cool channel name. Thank you for the super chat. Let's see here. We have Jay-Z Help.
Super chat.
Says, proud to be a part of the Nimmin. You're awesome, Nick. Thank you. Thank you for the kind words as well. And Paige Brooker's Live says, my sports highlights channel, despite me transforming the original content in various ways and condensing original 2-hour games to 8 minutes, get copyright claimed and denied when I fight back. How do I avoid this? I hate to be the person that says this, but the best way to avoid it is to not do that type of content. Like, I know it's not what you want to hear, but like anytime that you are making content by using somebody else's content, you run the risk of situations like this. And when you are in a situation like this and you can't, legally fight it, or you don't have any contacts at YouTube that you can reach out to, or you don't have any way to actually get your voice heard outside of their automated systems. And then when you go through and you try to appeal it, and then they're like, hey, no, and they bat it down, and you're kind of at the whim of the person that's reviewing it. Like, in a situation like this, you're kind of, your hands are kind of tied in a situation. So the best thing that you can do is, if you keep getting copyright claimed on these, is of course, like if you want to keep making those, you can, but just be mindful that it might be difficult to monetize. And in addition to that, meaning that there's a chance that you might not be able to monetize it at all because this keeps happening. But you might also run into, losing the channel over it if they keep nailing you. Let's see here. Roberto Blake, what's up, dude? Hope you're doing great. Says, build on the back of original content to avoid any problems. Okay, so next up here on the list, we got Inspire Student Leadership. Gonna try to cruise through these a little bit today because we in NYC tours. Good morning to you as well. Just because we didn't answer a ton of questions last week, So I want to get through a little bit more. I want to get through a little bit more this week. So Traveling Man is the next question. This says they have a channel in Las Vegas, and the goal of the channel is to inform, educate, and entertain, and hopefully make a little bit of money. And the question, I noticed on Shorts, people uploading TikTok videos. I also noticed other Shorts using copyrighted songs. Since Shorts can't be monetized, can we use such music? Thanks. No, you can't. Like, technically you could, but don't. And the reason that you shouldn't is because right now, people are flying under the radar with that, but there's going to be a day of reckoning, and you do not want to be a part of that day of reckoning because it could cost you everything that you've built on YouTube. So Maniac, thank you for the kind words. But basically, like when, when you're doing all of this stuff, like it's really important to think about the long term, right? So it's like when you are uploading videos to YouTube, you're uploading videos to YouTube because you're doing something you enjoy doing, or you're trying to connect with an audience, or you're trying to make money, or like whatever it is, you're trying to spread your message or whatever. And like when you're doing all of those things, there's a ton of work that goes into all this. Everybody here knows that, right? And when you are putting in all this work, the last thing that you want to do is, try to use some music in a short so that so that when the video starts, you're going to grab their attention a little bit more. Like, instead of doing that, say, it's not worth losing my channel over. It's not worth the headache of dealing with any issues. It's not worth starting another shorts channel and then doing it there, hoping that I'll be okay. Because if that channel gets deleted and you get banned from that particular channel, that blankets you across YouTube. So technically, according to the YouTube terms of service, if they delete one channel, you can't have another one. So because of that, you have to make sure that you're playing by the rules all the way across the board, because you just don't want to end up in that situation. I mean, I would assume that you don't want to end up in that situation, right? Let's see here. Next up, we've got Jay the Game Tricks. Jay the Game Tricks says they have Call of Duty content, goal of the channels to get monetized and spend more time with the family. And the question is, hello, Nick, how are you doing today? Hello, I'm doing fantastic. I hope that you are also doing awesome. Says that my question today is that, what is your opinion on clickbait thumbnails? Is there a right way to use them, or should they be avoided? Thank you. Stay safe. So when it comes to clickbait thumbnails, so who here thinks that you have to use clickbait thumbnails on YouTube to get any type of response? Just give me a hashtag me. Runny Egg, what's up? Hope you're doing great. ASMR Dream More, hope that you're doing awesome. Nice to see you in here. Mr. Cameron Junkie, what is up? Paul Peck, drywall tube in the house. Let's see here. Yeah, it will be. So Paul Peck says it'll be interesting to see what music will be on the Shorts app feature. Yeah, absolutely. Like when they start rolling that stuff, that's, those additional things out. Yeah, that's going to be really cool. But that changes the game, because then you'll have permission, right? Okay. So here's the thing, when it comes to clickbait on YouTube, like one of the things that I see on Reddit all the time and just in YouTube communities, and I hear people talking about on Clubhouse, is when people think like, oh, you got to have like clickbaity thumbnails. But the idea with clickbait thumbnails is people associate clickbait with oh, I just realized I didn't put that pillow up. They associate clickbait with negativity, with misleading people, that sort of thing. So what you want to think about is okay, what I want my thumbnail and title to be is compelling, not clickbait, because clickbait is, misleading. So if we went by definition, then it's misleading. But if your thumbnails are compelling to where they're click worthy, then that's totally okay. And if you kind of go a little bit hypier. So for example, let's say, since we're talking coffee cups today, let's say that I was making videos about coffee or coffee cups. And I was like, because this is a pretty huge coffee cup, if I was like, the world's biggest coffee cup, and my thumbnail was like this, right? And I went into Photoshop, and let's say that I swelled this cup up to where my face is still the same size, but let's say the cup is like, this big, because I made it not close up, but, just bigger because I made it big in Photoshop. Well, in that situation, I'm exaggerating what's going on a little bit, but it's still a huge coffee cup. And the whole video is still about, this huge, the world's biggest coffee cup or whatever it happens to be, even though I might have exaggerated the thumbnail just a tad, right? So in that situation, you're kind of pushing it just a little bit, but you're doing it for the sake of being compelling, and you're not misleading people in any way, because you are still talking about the world's biggest coffee cup, okay? So let's see here. Next up, Pixel Pagan says I need to get one of those coffee cups. So if you are wanting one of these coffee cups, StreamYard has a Facebook group. It's called StreamYard Community. If you look for that, then go in there and join if you're a StreamYard user. Let them know you're a StreamYard user, participate in the chat a little bit, and then hit them up. They might send you one. Cooking with Chef and More. Hello. Hope that you are doing fantastic. Doug Hewson. What's up, my man? Hope that you are also rocking. Okay, next up we got Jing says they've been on YouTube for a year or more. They do song covers. The goal of the channel is to build a community and getting my first YouTube play button. I love that you said first. Love it that you said first, because you're in, right? You're like, hey, you know what? I'm not wanting like a play button. Like I just want to get my first one out of the way so I can go after, so I can go after more. Love that. Let's see here. So the question is how to figure out very good titles and get people to click on the video. So that really comes down to learning your audience and what it is that they respond to over time. So one of the really big benefits of TubeBuddy, as an example, is they have that A/B testing feature. And within that A/B testing feature, it helps you fine tune your thumbnails based on the people that YouTube is showing your content to, and based on the things that those people are interested in that would lead them to your content in the first place, right? So it basically helps you fine tune your thumbnails for the audience that you are connecting with. In addition to that, when it comes to writing the titles themselves, it's just important to think about, who it is that you're actually targeting with your videos, who it is that you're wanting to watch your videos, because in a lot of cases, you can just call that person out, based on, like if you're making videos for, single moms, right? Then in that situation, it would be, 8 things single moms need to do before, whatever. Fill in the blank with whatever you want there. But basically, when you're doing that, you would just directly be calling out, single moms. If it was, drywall in that situation, you're like, for drywall tips that will, make your, just go look at Paul Peck's channel. He's got good titles. But basically the idea is when you are calling out exactly what it is, then in the video, then it can help the person that is interested in that particular thing identify that video is for them, which then in turn can help them identify that that's something that they want to click on, which then can bring that person into your video. So hopefully that helps in terms of, fine tuning. But I mean, there's a lot that goes into thumbnails. There's a lot that goes into titles, but what you have to do is just, you have to experiment. You have to, with every video that you put up, work with the stuff that you have proven to work on your channel with the videos and the topics that you're talking about. However, experiment as well. So let's say that you always use, green backgrounds. Then in that situation, experiment sometimes with blue. Let's say you always put your face in there. Experiment sometimes with not putting your face in there. Let's say you never put your face in there. Experiment sometimes with putting your face in there. Sometimes you never use expressions when you do use your face. Sometimes, even though I know a lot of people are against it, experiment with using like one of the over-the-top expressions, because that stuff works like crazy here on YouTube as well. So, just experiment with it, and you'll quickly, over time, you'll start to notice, as long as you're paying attention and taking notes on everything, you'll start to notice, what is working and what isn't. Let's see here. Next up, we got Beanie Draws. What's up, dude? I hope that you are doing fantastic. Flash in your pan. What's up? Hope that you're doing great too. 2 Quacks and a Clucks Farm. Hope that you're doing awesome. So let's see here. Next up, we've got let's see here. Beanie Draws does dinosaur art. Awesome dinosaur art, I must say. And the goal of the channel is to inspire others to start drawing or get back into drawing. And the question is, a few years ago, around 2018, I remember people saying that changing titles and descriptions re-indexes the video and potentially re-ranks it. I'm wondering if changing an end card, adding chapters, URLs might have forgotten to add into descriptions, etc., re-indexes the video out of the gate in potentially a harmful way, and if changing descriptions for super old videos also changes their potential ranking. Thanks for everything that you do and the value you've provided over the years and the years to come. Thank you, Beanie. So basically, when it comes to re-indexing, so according to YouTube, when you make a change, they don't re-index your video. How it works is you make a change, and based on what that change is, there might be a different topical relationship to that video. So let's say, for example, the video was about let's see here. Let's say the video was about a mouse, right? Computer mouse. I was going to do coffee cup, but this will be easier. So let's say the video is about a computer mouse and it's a review for a computer mouse. Well, in that situation, if you have, a review of Logitech MX Anywhere 25 mouse, right? And you have that as your title. And then you have, just a nice, good picture of the mouse as well for your thumbnail. And that video isn't doing great for you. Well, one of the things that you could do is you can go in there and you could make a change to that title. Instead of calling it a review, you could do something like, initial thoughts of the MX Anywhere 25. Then in that situation, what you're doing is you're still sharing the information about the mouse. You're reviewing it because you're, sharing the information and what it is that you think about it, like you do in a review, but you've reframed what it is, or you've reframed the packaging of that particular video. Now, what happens there and what makes it seem like a change happens inside of YouTube is because let's say that all of a sudden, the change that you made to where it looks like it's just your first thoughts or your first, responses to this new mouse, people click on that one more. And for whatever reason, since they click on it more, the expectation they have when they come in there is also different. And they also watch that video for a little bit more. They interact with that video a little bit more. And it causes people to respond to that video in a better way. That is what makes the videos themselves start performing better on YouTube, or worse if it goes in the other way. So the same exact thing can happen. Julie Wakefield, what's up? Hope that you are doing great. But the same thing happens in the other direction as well. So let's say that you had that same exact video, but then you change the title to like, this mouse will change your life, right? And in that situation, let's say for whatever reason, people responded to that differently. It just didn't have the impact that the other two had. So then people click on it less. And when they click on it less, the people that do click on it, maybe their response or their expectation for that video is different, because what you do on the outside in terms of your topic, title, and thumb, that creates an expectation for what it is that's going to happen in the actual video or what they're going to get from the video. So when you made that change, people responded to it in a negative way, and that causes the video to perform worse. So when you're doing all this stuff and you're testing everything and you're going through and changing everything, it's important to just be mindful of, when I make this change, I'm not going to just make the change and leave and move on. I'm going to make the change and I'm going to monitor this video for a while so that I can see if the change that I made is helping or hurting the video. And if it's hurting it, then I'm going to revert it back to what it was before, or I'm just going to make a completely new change and try to bring it back to life that way. However, one thing to keep in mind is that your, like when you are making those changes to your video and your thumbnail, or to your title and your thumbnail, is when people are responding to it in different ways and all of that. It's important to make sure that the changes that you are making, that you're just really mindful about what it is that you're doing. So like, let's say for example, in the example that I gave you with the 3 different ways to frame looking at a mouse, in that situation, when you are putting that together, just be mindful of, okay, when I'm saying this mouse is going to change your life, I'm creating this, this big idea behind this particular, video, of what this video is. I'm putting like a lot of weight on this mouse right now. I'm making this thing like super important. And then when you just do a review, then in that situation, it's a little bit more neutral. You're just sharing information about it, and be mindful about the nuance of how you're actually packaging things up. Like, are you being over the top with, changing your life? Are you being kind of neutral with like, hey, I'm just giving you, the review and these are my thoughts. Just be very mindful of what's behind the actual title and thumbnail itself when you're putting it together, because that can also lead you in the right direction to making the right choices for your audience and what it is that they respond to. Okay, next up on our list here, we've got Sarah's Soap. Sarah's Soap says that they do soap making and skincare DIY. The goal of the channel is teaching above topics and making income with the channel, not just ad revenue. Cool. Love to hear that. And the question is, I started to take YouTube seriously since April 2020. Before that, it was mainly showcase my products as a small artisan soap company. I started monetizing in October 2020 and have about 3,300 subscribers now, 12 subs a day on average. What are some things that I can do to improve to grow at a faster pace? Thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and all you do for the community. So my pleasure. When it comes to improving things and growing at a faster pace, of course, I would need to actually look at the channel, but since I'm not going to, pull the channel up, some things that you want to think about, or some things that you want to explore, are you need to go into your analytics and you need to get really familiar with them. Since you're a business owner, you're used to looking at numbers and things like that. So I'm guessing that you're probably already doing that. So let's be specific. When you are wanting your channel to perform better, the very first thing that you need to go in and look at is how people are responding to the content that you're putting out. So you need to go into your audience retention reports, not as the channel as a whole, but in each individual video. And you need to start taking notes on every video that you publish, because you need to know, when I do these things in videos, people leave. When I do these things in videos, people stay. right? When I do, these, I cause people to rewind and start watching, that part again. Maybe you show a quick screenshot of something, or maybe you show, a quick ingredient, but it was just really quick. And because of that, people have to keep skipping backwards in order to watch it. And you can see that in your audience retention. But you start taking these notes over time. And what that does is that creates a blueprint for you over time how to create content that your viewers really love. And once you start doing that, then in that situation, you've got the video part out of the way. Then you have to start working on how you're packaging things up. So the video structure and how you're, putting all that together, and then start working on how you're packaging things up in order to get people to click on what it is that you're doing. And over time, you're at 3,300 subs already. So you have enough information on your channel right now to where you could dig in and you could start identifying some very obvious things of like, wow, didn't even notice this. When I do this, people will watch, or when I do this, people seem to click on these more. When I show this in the thumbnail, people seem to click on these more. When I talk about these specific things, people seem to click on these more. Like you have enough information to see that now, probably. So because of that, go in and start looking for those things. Also, when you're looking in your in your stats for each video, also make sure that you're going in and you're paying really close attention to where the views are coming from. And what I mean by that is, if you go in and you are only getting traffic from search, what that means is that you need to figure out a way to optimize for search, but also be more compelling with how you're putting your videos together on the outside. And when it comes to being more compelling with putting your videos together from the outside, what I mean by that is, if you're able to get people to click and search, that's one thing, because they're looking for your content. If you want your channel to grow rapidly as well, in addition to that, you need to also be able to tap into the other traffic sources on YouTube as well. So you want to make sure that you're paying really close attention to how long people are watching from the other sources, how much people are clicking from the other sources, and how many impressions that you're getting from the other sources as well, so that you can really start fine tuning and making sure that what it is that you're doing is compelling enough to also get a response and anywhere. So when YouTube shows it anywhere on the platform, you over time learn how to get that response from it. So when you are wanting to grow your channel faster, one, understand all the stats that I just talked about. Two, inside of your YouTube analytics, and this is for everybody, inside of your YouTube analytics, there's a grouping feature. That grouping feature lets you compare content and content sets against each other. So as an example, let's say that you have, in your situation, you're doing soap making. So let's see if I can freestyle this one here with soap making. So since I don't know anything about soap making, except for my grandma actually used to make soap when I was a little kid. So I do remember that. But basically, when it comes to soap making, let's say that you find out, or let's say that you have videos on your channel that are, like how to make soap, right? And it's literally step-by-step stuff, or like, parts of the soap making process. And that's like what one pillar is. And then you have another one that is, like your reviews on different soaps, or, we'll just say your reviews on different soaps. So then you have those two different content sets. And this applies to everybody. If you're a gamer, then in this situation, you could do Let's Plays versus, game guides. If you are a automotive channel, you could do, videos about this car versus videos about this car. If you are a quilter, then you could do the same exact thing in terms of, showing people how to do the quilts versus, sharing quilting patterns, right? If you are, anything that you do, you can compare content in this way using the grouping feature in your analytics. But what you want to do is you want to say, okay, these are, let's say 20 of my recent videos on, how to make soap. These are 20 of my recent reviews on the soap reviews. And then you group those against each other. And then what you're going to see when you compare them against each other is you're going to see a bunch of information based on how people respond to them as a whole, as a content set. And the same exact thing applies when you are looking at the format of your content as well. So let's say that you have some stuff that you do when you're making soap to where it's in studio, and you're sitting there talking just like I am right now. And you're sitting there talking and you're sharing the information about the soap and maybe these stories from your childhood, like I just did with my grandma, about your soap and that kind of stuff. And then you have another format to where it's just an overhead camera. And then you're sitting there, you're like making the soap and talking about it. And you can also compare that sort of thing. You can compare backgrounds. You can compare this with titles and things that you're doing in the titles and thumbnails. You can use this comparison thing for all of these different things. But basically what you do is you you group the content together that you want to compare, and then you'll start seeing, which ones drive more subscribers, which one drives more views on average, which one, compared to the amount of videos that are in there, which ones get more impressions, which one gets more browse traffic, which one gets more suggested traffic, which content set gets more search traffic or more external from Google, as an example, in their search results. So you start getting all of these different insights on the different content sets that you're doing, which then opens you up to a whole new world, because then it's like, wow, people are responding in a massive way to this compared to what it is that I'm doing here with the reviews, as an example. So because of that, I'm not going to do reviews anymore. I'm just going to focus on this because people are responding to this. And then I'm going to start experimenting with another format or another type of content, so that I can see if I can take that even further and get people to respond even more. So that's kind of the idea of how you want to, put everything together, and compare things in your stats so that you can make sure that you are continually putting out the content that, one, you enjoy. This is an important part of it, but that you enjoy, but that is also proven to perform for you. Because if you don't lean on the stuff to where you're proving that people love this particular content, then in that situation, you're just kind of putting stuff out there and hoping people like each video, instead of actually going through the process of understanding the content that people actually want and respond to from you. So hopefully that answered your question in a very long, roundabout way there. But for everybody that just listened to that, like, go back and listen to that again. Like go ahead and just take a note on that, and kind of bookmark, that particular area right there, and watch that a bunch of times, and watch it and listen to it and actually apply what it was that I was just saying right there to your YouTube channel. Just that by itself can make a huge difference on your YouTube channel, because it's coming down to the content that you're making and what people are responding to most based on the people that YouTube is showing that content to. So definitely use that information that I just gave you. Okay, let's see here. O'Shea Duke Jackson says, "You, my friend, are the truth." Thank you, O'Shea. I appreciate it. Super kind words there. Romantic Super Chat. Thank you for the super chat as well. And Jay-Z Helps says, "Nick's Facebook group is gold, should be $9.99. Thank you for that. And NYC Tours says, "Good morning, Nick." Good morning, NYC Tours. I think I mentioned that one already, but hey. Let's see here. So next up here, we've got Runny Egg.
Welcome to the Nimmin.
And Crystal Clear Meditation.
Welcome to the Nimmin.
So for both of you, next time you're on Facebook, look for Nimminati VIP. It's our members only Facebook group. You can also find it in the members only videos here on the channel, but look for Nimminati VIP. I should just start putting that in the descriptions here. That'd be so much easier for you guys. But basically look for Nimminati VIP, and make sure you fill out all the information on the way in, because that's how I verify that you're a member. And as soon as, because once the stream's done, because I'm in Thailand, so it's like 9:40 here p.m. So by the time the stream's done, it's going to be around midnight. So because of that, I don't do anything tomorrow. Tomorrow is my day with my girlfriend where we hang out and we do our thing there. But Monday, as soon as I get in front of the computer, then I'll approve you for the Facebook group as well. But I've got some free stuff in there for you. I got some, I think little link in bio graphics. I got little subscribe buttons in there, all kinds of cool stuff for you. Okay, so let's see here. Next up on the list, we have Rush Into. Says they upload one time per week or more, and they have a gaming channel, and the goal of the channel is to entertain people and make them happy. And the question, I've asked a question before when I was at 83 subs, and you helped me get to 119 subs, but now I'm stuck again, and the tips from last time are not helping, sadly. So I don't know what to do, and I need your help. How do I get my video out there to more people? So here's the thing. The formula is this. You have to go through the process of learning how to get people to respond to what it is that you're doing and how to make good content for people. So as a content creator, we're going to make what we make because we enjoy making it. We think it's cool. That's why we actually publish it, because we're like, yeah, this is at least good enough that I can publish this and not be like embarrassed by it or whatever it happens to be. So we're putting that content out there. The next step is starting to understand what you do that people respond to and what people don't respond to. And unfortunately, the way YouTube works, we have to make sure that while we're doing the thing that, we really enjoy and the thing that we love, we have to also make sure that, if we're wanting to get like all the gains that we can get out of YouTube, we got to make sure that we're also doing the things that will help YouTube work on our behalf as well, which is make content that people will click on at a acceptable or competitive rate compared to the other options that they have, and content that people will watch for a satisfactory amount of time compared to the other options that they have when YouTube is showing your content on their home screen next to other videos and search results and so on. So, when it comes to growing your channel, I just want to let you know that even though right now you jumped from 83 subscribers to 119, like, you're still just getting the ball rolling. So it's really important to make sure that you're looking at this as a long-term thing. And I love that you asked this question because, you're like, hey, how do I do more, right? How do I get better at this? So the way that you get better at this is by paying really close attention. Like I was saying before with the soap channel, paying really close attention to how people respond to what it is that you're doing and learning your stats, learning how to use your YouTube analytics. And look, I see here that you said that you're on an iPad and an iPhone. So on an iPad and an iPhone, on an iPad, it's easier. On an iPad, you can go right into your YouTube analytics. Just make sure that you're using Google Chrome or Safari in desktop mode, and then you can go right into your full YouTube analytics. If you're on an iPhone, then you'll have to use your Google Chrome or Safari in desktop mode there, and that'll open you up to your full YouTube analytics. So don't just use the Creator Studio app for your analytics. You want to dig all the way in by going in through your desktop mode on your browser so that you can make sure that you're getting the full, everything when it comes to your stats so that you can make sure that you're making the right decisions. And that will help you a lot. Let's see here. Next up on our list. So Neek says, Nick Nimmin, does YouTube make good money? Yeah. I mean, if you're talking about like YouTubers, sure. If you're talking about YouTube, yeah, absolutely. All the way around. Let's see here. Today's thought. Oop, wrong one. Today's thought.
Welcome to the Nimminati.
Welcome to the Nimminati. Make sure that next time you are on Facebook that you look for Nimminati VIP. That is our members only Facebook group. And make sure that you fill out all of the information on the way in because that is how I verify that you're a member. Right now, I'm actually streaming over there every Monday. So my promise here for the sign up for the channel membership is a monthly live stream. But I'm just enjoying hanging out over there because the community that's been growing over there is just awesome. So I'm just enjoying hanging out over there, helping people out. So I'm streaming over there every Monday now. And we're looking at channels and all kinds of fun stuff. So just as a heads up, for those of you that are new members, basically what I'm doing every Monday, and there'll be some spaces in this to where, I'll be looking at channels and then I'll go in and just share some, general Q&A stuff or just give like, just straight up training or whatever. But the idea is that there's a post from the end of December. It's in one of the announcements when you go into the group. And in that particular thing, I say, hey, I'm going to be doing a live stream, drop a link to your channel. And what I'm doing is I just started at the top and I've just been working my way through it since the end of December. And then I'm just going through and looking at channels in the order that they're received there. So as soon as you get into the group, make sure that you add your channel to that list if you want me to look at it and be very specific. Because I don't just look at the channel and just give a bunch of information about it. I'm very specific to the information that you want to know or the specific thing that you need help with. So just make sure that you do that when you go in there. Let's see here. The Buck Let's Play says, do you think channel age impacts the algorithm? I have some 5 and 10-year-old channels with no content. I'm considering repurposing. Thanks in advance. No, it comes down to the actual video itself. So basically, if you just start your channel today, or if you have a 10-year-old channel that you've never done anything with and you start that one today and you publish your first video on both of those channels started today or just the first upload to the one 10 years ago, when you upload to either one of those particular channels, as long as the video itself is quality content that people respond to, then you have the same chances of winning, so to speak. If that channel was a day old or if that channel was, 10 years old and you're just uploading the first video. Let's see here. Pickle Boy, what's up? Hope you're doing great. When I see that, I think of Rick and Morty when Rick turned himself into a pickle. I don't know why I shared that, but that's what I think in that situation. Do you guys watch Rick and Morty? Who hears? I can't wait until the new ones come out. Okay, Russian 2 is our next one, and I'll know we got that one taken care of here. So let me go to the next one here. Nope, that one didn't do it. There we go. Okay, so Danny Hatcher, what's up, Danny? Hope you're doing great, man. Says they do productivity apps for creative entrepreneurs. The goal of the channel is to help creators be more intentional with their time. And the question. I also use StreamYard for my YouTube and Twitch live streams, and I was wondering if you can play background music with StreamYard while screen sharing something else. Can't seem to get it to work, and I was wondering how you do all of your sound effects stuff. Stuff is a technical term. And side note, I've noticed that you are not unlisting your live streams anymore. Curious what the reasoning is. So basically on the live streams, I'm not unlisting them anymore because I have guests on now. And since I have guests on and they are spending their time, I want to make sure that that they also are, getting whatever it is that might come to them from the live stream as well. So since they're spending their time, then I'm being respectful of their time by leaving the streams up on the channel. So that's it. No strategy attached to it. Like I'm just being cool. Like, that's it. Like they're cool enough to spend their time. So I'm going to be, cool enough to actually leave those up on the channel, so that, people can learn about them over time through my channel as well, in addition to theirs. So in terms of the background music. So for me, I'm running everything through my Rodecaster. I have the Rodecaster. I also have the Stream Deck as well. And with both of these, I can just hit a button and play music. So for example, let's say that I'll just do this one. Then here I've got like a 10-second clip where there's just like a little bit of stuff going on there in the background. Right. So with that, in terms of like a full song, you could definitely trigger that through a Stream Deck in order to, like it's running through the system, through the Stream Deck. And then that will actually play the music itself. You can do that. You can create a whole folder full of like different songs and that sort of thing. You can also screen share as well. If you do screen share, you should be able to pull your system audio through as well. I think that's in the audio settings, but I would have to double check. Let's see here. Swamp Sniper, love the channel name, says, I just wanted to say thank you so much for helping me get from 100,000 to over 500,000 subscribers. Your content is excellent and has given me so much direction. High five and fist bump to you for, applying the stuff that you learn and going, being in the grind. You know what I mean? Just putting out content all the time and making the right choices and taking the time to actually learn what it is that you're doing. Because, like in your situation, like you've went through the process of figuring out, what people like, what they don't like, and then still, enjoying what you're making and all of that, where a lot of people, they won't take that path. They'll just be like, oh, well, I just want to make what I make. And I just want to, kind of do that thing. And which is good to make what you want to make, but you also need to do the work side of YouTube as well. So, situations like this, when you and others come in and they say things like this, one, it makes me feel awesome. But two, I just want to pass that high five back to you, just because, you're putting in all the work and you've actually been one of the few, I'll call it, that, to where you're like, hey, I'm going to learn how to do this. I'm going to make this work. And you did it. You know what I mean? So high five and fist bump to you. Nice work on that. Let's see here. Next up on the list, we have Marcus Sapala. Marcus Sapala says they do communication tips from a comedian. The goal of the channel is to get booked for corporate workshops. And the question is, hey, Nick, I've been interviewed in the magazine of an international association where I'm a member. They found me via my videos. Power of YouTube, y'all, right there. Power of YouTube. Let's see here. The article will be published in the next few days. I got them to link my YouTube channel into my comedy course. What tips do you have for leveraging a media appearance? Thanks for everything that you do for us. Okay, so when it comes to this, you're going to have a lot of people hitting your channel page because they might link directly to your actual channel page itself. So make sure that the stuff that is the most current on your channel is as close to the top of your channel page as possible, because a lot of people will be hitting it on a phone as well. And you don't want them to have to scroll through a bunch of stuff in order to get to the main content that they want to watch on the channel. So make sure that you do that. In addition to that, also make sure that you are very thoughtful about exactly what it is that they see as they're scrolling down your channel page. Make sure that when you look at your channel art, that it's crystal clear what it is that you're offering, because basically what they're doing is they're setting up that lead for you. And then once they hit the channel, then everything is on you. So because of that, you want to make sure that your channel art, that it's clear and easy to understand what it is that you do. You can use placeit.net to make good looking channel art. They have templates. You can use canva.com. They also have great templates for you in order to make sure that you're presenting yourself well, because in this situation, it could also lead to additional opportunities. So you want to make sure that you're presenting yourself as in the best possible way. In addition to that, if you wanted to, this is a little bit of extra work, but if you wanted to, you could also make a channel trailer that you only leave up for the next week. And that particular channel trailer would say who you are, and you could even welcome them. Hey, by the way, if you're coming here from, XYZ, I'm this person, and, this is what we do here on the channel. I'd love for you to subscribe so that blah, 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 and just go through the, go through the whole thing. You have 2 minutes to where you can say whatever it is that you want, but try to make it short so you can just get them to take action and subscribe if that's what you're wanting. Or when you are putting that together, direct them to another video so that as they come into your channel, they see that trailer if they're not subscribed. And then in that trailer, you just have a quick blurb about who you are, welcoming them from that particular site if it's massive. And then you tell them, hey, this is one of my best pieces of content. You can check it out right here. And then you have an in-screen element there to where they'd be able to click on that and then go directly to a video. Make sure that you also, have a pinned comment there for that. Not a pinned comment, but in your description, that you also have that for desktop users as well. So that for your trailer, if you decide to use one, there's also a direct link to subscribe your channel and a direct link to watch another one of your videos as well. Let's see here.
Super chat.
David C. Riley says, is it cool to do content others made, but put on my own spin on things? Due to cerebral palsy, my speech is very slow. Worry it puts people off. So if you mean basically downloading other people's stuff and just kind of like remixing it in some way, the downside of doing that these days is that it's something that is becoming increasingly more difficult to monetize. So if you're wanting to monetize your channel, that can become very challenging. When it comes to like reacting to other people's content and that sort of thing, you can do that and you can get away with that. However, just be mindful that, that is kind of like risky territory. Like technically it's fair use, so it's fine. But in the future, if there's a law that changes around fair use and they change, or they're more specific about it, and then a reaction would fall outside of that, then you could be putting yourself at risk. But in that situation, you can just go back through and delete all of those as soon as that law gets passed. And then you still have all the gains that you've gotten from doing that type of content. But you just want to make sure that, what you're using, that as much as possible, that you are legitimately reacting to it if that's what you're doing, or that you're legitimately remixing it. What I would recommend that you do is, because like fair use and copyright law and all of that, like it's just an endless rabbit hole that you can go down. What I recommend that you do is you actually just go into YouTube. They have a copyright section in the YouTube Creator Academy, which is free. If you just hop on Google, look for YouTube Creator Academy, it's going to pop up. It's free and provided by YouTube. They have a copyright section in there. Go through that. In addition to that, I would also go through the process. And I know this sounds like, hey, wait a minute, I'm just uploading videos to YouTube, I shouldn't even need to do this. But, you are putting yourself in a situation that could lead to legal things. So because of that, I would also reach out to a copyright lawyer and have the conversation with them about the specific way that you're wanting to put your content together. Maybe make one that you don't upload to YouTube, you just upload it to like Dropbox or something so they can view it, but put together like a sample for them so that they can see exactly what it is that you're doing, so that they can sign off on it and say, yeah, I would be able to defend this as fair use. And then once you get that clear, then you're full steam ahead in that situation. Let's see here. So next up on our list here, we have, so we got Marcus taken care of. Man, why isn't this refreshing? Boom. Scribbo uploads bi-weekly content. The kind of channel is to provide education for primary teachers on how to teach more effectively using scientific findings. That's cool. Says, make us well-known. The goal of the channel is to make us well-known by schools in Brazil. We have 6,000 subscribers and want to reach 100,000. The question is, we made our first 2 shorts this week and put them to air as a premiere release. Do you think that putting them as a premiere may reduce its chance to be shown on the short shelf? As long as it's under 60 seconds, then in that situation, you are a candidate for the short shelf. So you're fine. So typically what seems to be happening with shorts is when you publish the shorts, in a lot of cases, it'll take a few days for those to show up, and then you'll see the spike out of nowhere. And then that spike will happen for a little bit. And then based on how people respond to them, then that spike will either continue or it'll just kind of, fade away. My brother, D Nimmin, if you look for D-E-E, Nimmin on YouTube, he looks like me, or I look like him. He's older. But basically, when you go to his YouTube channel, he actually has a couple of videos recently about shorts that you can check out just to get more information on them. And him and Daniel Batal also put out some information on the TubeBuddy YouTube channel as well about shorts also. Okay, and real quick, speaking of, I want to just go ahead really quick, and I just want to remind everybody that this stream is brought to you by TubeBuddy and StreamYard. They're co-sponsors on the live stream here. Basically, TubeBuddy is a tool for YouTube content creators, helps you with all kinds of things with your channel. StreamYard is the live streaming platform that I use to live stream this every single Saturday. So, everything that you see here, this is all happening through StreamYard. It's just the easiest thing to use on the planet. Later, when I bring guests in, if anybody ends up coming in, basically, it's so easy to do that I just copy a link out of the control panel here, and I just share that right into the Facebook group, and then anybody can come in that wants to come in. So it's super easy to use, and if you are live streaming or considering it, it's a great thing to get started with. And in most cases, because like this is what I do, and I still use StreamYard for it. So in most cases, you're going to be able to use StreamYard even if you expand into more high-end stuff as well. So definitely give them a shot. Okay, so let's see here. So John Pullum says that Dee's latest video on YouTube mentions that they should be 15 seconds or less. I've been cranking out a few that are under 15 seconds. Nothing has hit yet, but I keep pushing them out. Yeah, so that information, to my understanding, is something that in Clubhouse, I think Mr. Beast and Daryl Eves were having a conversation. By the way, if you're on an iPhone and you're not in Clubhouse, you are missing out. But I've actually taken a break because I got so sucked into it. I took a break for a week and a half, but this coming week I'm going to be in there a lot more. But yeah, if you're not in Clubhouse and you're on an iPhone, you are missing out. If you need an invite, if you have an iPhone, shoot me a DM on Twitter. I think I've got 4 or 5 of them, and I'll give them away to the first 5 messages that I get in there. I'll give you an invite if you need it. But you got to be on an iPhone. That's the thing. You have to be on an iPhone, or it doesn't work. Okay, so Escribo says that they provide education for primary teachers. Okay, we did that already. Makes well known in Brazil. Shorts. Okay, we answered that whole question. Okay, so next up on our list, we have Skaya Siberian. Skaya Siberian says that they do talking husky vlogs, and the goal of the channel is to entertain and grow my brand and make a living. Question: Hey Nick, hope you're doing well. Doing fantastic. Hope you are also doing well. Renee Ritchie says, I also took a Clubhouse break going back today. Yeah, it is just, whew. I found myself waking up, and I actually had conversations with my girlfriend about it. I would wake up and we'd be sitting there eating breakfast, and I had Clubhouse on, and I'm listening to people talk or talking myself or whatever. And it started impeding on my life. So it was hey, I gotta put the brakes on this thing. But basically I was listening to it from the time that I woke up all the way until I would sit down in front of a computer, whatever, while I'm out running over errands or whatever. I'd have headphones in or listen to it in the car. And then basically when I would get home, when I would get in front of the computer, I would still have it on unless it was something I needed to focus on. I couldn't be distracted by listening. But I mean, it is just heavy in terms of the attention that it demands from you because it's so great. But the goal here on the Talking Husky Vlogs channel says, I started posting 4 months ago, and have since grown to almost 11,300 subscribers. However, my view count per video has actually diminished over time. My CTR is about 12% on average. My retention rate is anywhere from 48 to 71%, but I only get about 3,000 to 4,000 impressions and 1,000 total views after 3 to 4 days. I feel like I'm just being impatient, but is there something that I could do to improve this situation? Yes. So 48 to 71% retention, if your videos are longer, 5 to 10 minutes, that you're actually doing fantastic. So in that situation, just be patient. But absolutely, there is stuff that you can do to improve. So what you want to do, kind of the blanket rule that, that I always mention in terms of, going into your audience retention reports, taking notes on everything it is that you see, in terms of, hey, I noticed a little drop here. I noticed a little spike here. I noticed that in my end of my videos, at this point, they start going down. So what happens in all of these little points in the video that are causing people to react in these different ways? And then you want to look at that across your different videos that you have, and you'll start noticing over time, patterns will emerge, and you'll start noticing interesting. When I do these things, I have 6 different videos that when I do this thing, people always leave. So then you start getting a really deep understanding of how to get people to respond to what it is that you're doing better. And in terms of your views diminishing over time, another thing to keep in mind is that as people are subscribing to your YouTube channel, YouTube starts pushing out your content to them. And even though you have a 12% click-through rate based on, 3,000 to 4,000 impressions, like if that was 100,000 impressions, then I would be like, okay, yeah, you're probably, you're probably doing okay. But 12% on 3 to 4,000 impressions, I would definitely say that you have, you have work to do there. But basically, like in your situation, like it's important to also understand that as your channel starts growing and as you do start having more people subscribe to your channel and things like that, then YouTube has that core group to where they send your videos out, and those are typically the people that have interacted recently, and the people that just their system thinks that at that moment in time when you publish that video, they're going to be the most likely to enjoy that video. But another thing with YouTube is they also show your new content to people at a high rate when you actually publish the content, and then it will taper off based on how people respond to it. And in some cases, it'll just taper off and that's it. Other cases, it'll taper off and then it'll come back to life later. And then, that video will end up, driving a lot of views and subscribes and ad revenue and all that stuff to your channel. So what I recommend that you do right now, since you are just getting started, is I recommend that you just be patient and just keep paying attention, because you're like, hey, I got, 3,000, 4,000 impressions, 1,000 total views after 3 to 4 days. But basically just be patient, because all this content that you're putting out now, you just started making videos 4 months ago and you're already at 11,000 subscribers. So people are responding to what it is that you're doing. However, you might have videos that you've already put out over this 4 months that won't even start getting traction for another like 2 or 3 months. So because of that, just keep doing what it is that you're doing, keep improving, over time, try to do some collaborations with other people in the dog space if you can, and just keep moving forward, and you'll be fine. Because if you're getting that type of response already, you might also want to look and see the specific videos that are driving the subscriber rate. Because of course, if you have 11,000 subscribers in 4 months, that means that based on the amount of content that you're putting out, that means that you're probably going to have some content that's driving a majority of those subscribers. So go in there and look and see what that content is, and make sure the content that you're publishing now is the same content that people are subscribing at a high rate for. Because the stuff that people are subscribing at a high rate for, that they're proving with their subscribe that they love that content. So because of that, just make sure you're paying really close attention to the stuff that is driving a lot of subscribers, because that's the stuff that's actually, making the channel move, so that you can make sure that you're making a lot of that type of content or doing similar things that people, are responding to the channel for. Let's see here. Okay, next up on our list here. Let me refresh this really quick. I saw Roger say that was for him. Hold on really quick. Yeah, they're like going back and forth here. Tuber turds. Oh, love it. Absolutely love it. Okay, here, hold on. Tuber turds. Oh, the 90. Oh, got it. From Romantic. That's funny. Love it. Romantic, thank you for that. Let's see here. I'm going to spin on things. Okay, yeah, we got that taken care of too. That's funny. Okay, so next up on our list. Go ahead and hit that one myself. There we go. Okay, so next up on the list, we have Pieces to Props. Pieces to Props says that they have a... Hold on, what is it? Samsung Note 10 is what they're making the content on. They make props out of EVA craft foam from popular movies and anime, and show how that you can make your own. And the goal of the channel is to build my own community of prop makers, entertain people, and make enough to quit my job and do YouTube full time. And the question, hey, Nick. Hello. I love your live streams and I watch them every week. Thank you. Glad that you're enjoying the content. My channel is a crafting channel where I make props from movies, animes, and pop culture out of EVA craft foam. Now, I know YouTube Shorts are hot right now and I want to take advantage of it, but normally my videos are about 10 minutes long. What do you suggest I do for a minute as this type of channel? I hope one day to be the Nick Nimmin of prop making. So when it comes to shorts right now, like Eric Waite Whiskey Studies was talking about, one of the things that some people with like massive amounts of traffic are sharing about the YouTube shorts is that shorter shorts seem to be getting, a lot of reach compared to like full 1 minute shorts. So because of that, I try to make them even shorter if you can. And when you are doing that, just try to think like, okay, since I'm not necessarily going to be showing people how to put these things together in the EVA foam, maybe I can just do highlights of the stuff. Like the short starts. Can you believe I made this out of EVA foam in my kitchen? can you believe I made this out of EVA foam in my kitchen? Check this out. And then you've got like, like this is the arm for this. This is the arm for this. I'm going to put it on for you right here in a second. This is the leg. This is the thing. This is what I was inspired by. Check this out. Bam. And then you're right there, like in the whole, in the prop, or you're holding the prop or whatever it happens to be. But something along those lines, for the sake of just highlighting what it is that you do. And I would also throw a subscribe call to action in there too. Hey, click, subscribe, to see how I put this stuff together. That sort of thing. So that you can also make sure that you're including that call to action in there. Let's see here. Next up on the list, we have Chris Scout. Crit Scout said they do daily content. It's a gaming channel, and the goal is trying to reach my monthly sub goal. And the question, I've been doing the types of things that you've been saying on your channel, and I've been working hard. My question is, what am I doing wrong? The question isn't necessarily what are you doing wrong, because like basically when it comes to YouTube, there's a lot of moving parts. So the things that I try to focus people on, during the live streams and my video content are the things that actually make a difference, right? The things that will make the channel move, the things that will, cause people to respond to what it is that you're doing, the things that will, help you the most, because there's tons of different little things that you could do around your YouTube channel. But the things that I try to focus people on are the things that actually matter. So if you are, if you're not getting a response from what it is that you're doing, then in that situation, you are not applying the stuff. You're not applying all of the stuff, or what it is that you are doing, you are not doing it the right way, or you just don't have a full, and I don't mean this in a bad way in any way, shape, or form, but it could also be that some of the things that we talk about here, if you're new, it could be that you just don't have a full understanding of like all the lingo yet and all of the moving parts that go into a YouTube channel. And because of that, some of the things just aren't landing yet in terms of, understanding. So because of that, if you are new, and I recommend this to everybody, like a lot of people would advise me against doing this. But, one of the things that I do recommend, because, I want you to grow your YouTube channel, because I know the impact that it can make in your life and in other people's lives, because, of what it's made in mine and, other people that I know. So if you are new to YouTube and you watch my YouTube videos, I recommend that you also watch other people who make content like me. And the reason for that is because even though we all say the same things, we say it in different ways. And there might be one thing that I say that might resonate with you to where you're like, oh, okay, now I get it. Or, Roberto or Brian, they might say something, Roberto Blake or Brian G. Johnson, they might say something to where you're like, oh, that's what, because they say it in a way that just hits home. And you're like, oh, that's what Nick was talking about in his live stream, this. Or they show a demonstration of it. Like all the stuff that I was talking about before on the stats, right? And when I was like, hey, go in your stats, create groups and all this, like, if you are not familiar with all of that, that could have just been gibberish. However, Roberto Blake has like a 5-hour live stream that's a deep dive on YouTube analytics, where he shows you all of this stuff in the YouTube analytics, and you can just go and spend the time there learning how to view and interpret all the stuff that's happening on your YouTube channel, so that you can use all of that for gains. So basically, when it comes to making sure that you are getting a deep understanding for this, it's just like anything else that you do. Just like when you start playing your games, like if you get a new game, I'll use Fortnite as an example, because when my girlfriend and I first started playing Fortnite, we're like, this is stupid, right? We're like, really, you jump out of a bus and then you land on the ground, you start hitting stuff with like a pickaxe or whatever. This is dumb. And we didn't know. We had no idea that you could go find treasure chests and you could, do all this cool stuff. So because of that, when we first landed, we had no clue. And we didn't know that you could do all these different things. We didn't know what any of the stuff was called or anything like that. So we had to go through the process of learning how to play the game and all the different stuff with it. And now, we have fun with it and we're pretty good at it. We get number one all the time and all that, the Victory Royale, we get that all the time. But basically the thing with YouTube is, the same thing applies to where, it's really important to make sure that, like, if I'm in a live stream, and this is for everybody here that's new, and this is really important, and this is with anything that you learn ever. And I'm older, so like, if you're a younger person, like, write this down. Like when you're trying to learn anything, if it's, using a computer, if it's playing a game, if it is, new technology, if it is, YouTube, if anything is ever said when you're trying to learn how to do it, if you're ever watching something, if you're watching, something on TV or a YouTube video or a live stream, or you're reading a blog or something about what it is that you're trying to learn, if you don't understand something, if you hear it and you don't know 100% what it means, don't assume you think you know what it means. If you don't know 100% what it means, write it down and just start making lists so that you can actually go and, look for what different things mean, so that you can make sure that, the choices that you're making are based around real information and real understanding instead of, assumptions and things like that. I am still young, absolutely, but I'm older too. See all this? That doesn't come when you're like super young, right? Okay, so next up on our list here. So basically just to kind of wrap that up. So for everybody here that thinks you're doing something wrong, it's not necessarily that you're doing something wrong. You might be, but it's not necessarily that you're doing something wrong. It's just that you're still in the early part of the learning curve, right? Because with anything, there's the learning curve. You have to go through a process in order to, to get gains with anything that you're doing. If you're playing an instrument, playing a sport, learning computers or games, whatever, you have to go through a learning curve. There's a process that you have to go through. YouTube is the same exact way. So it's not necessarily that you're doing something wrong per se. It's just that you haven't figured out all the right things to do yet to get a response from the people that you're trying to reach. Okay. Next up on our list, we got Crit Scout. I did that one already. Okay. Next up on the list, we've got, That editor Cody says that they upload 1 time per week or more. It's an editing channel, and the goal of the channel is to become someone's editor. And the question, how can you find small YouTubers in a certain niche? Mine is editing. Go to YouTube search and look up, editing for YouTube, how to edit for YouTube, YouTube video editors, that kind of stuff. What I would recommend is that you go and you look, go find a bunch of Adobe Premiere tutorials, because the people that are watching those Adobe Premiere tutorials are people that are editing videos. So then start going through the comment sections of those and start popping open channels. Bam, bam, bam. Start popping open channels. And then you're going to find over time, you're going to find a bunch of other video editors that you can reach out to. I would also hop on Facebook, look for video editing groups. I would hop on subreddit. I know for a fact, because I'm a member of them, that they have, a nice handful of editing groups on Reddit as well. So I would definitely hop on there. And if there isn't a group on Facebook, like new editors or something like that, then you might want to create that group and start growing that community of editors if it doesn't already exist. Somebody's got to do it, right? Might as well be you. Okay, so next up on the list, I saw some super chats come in. I'm going to answer these here really quick, and then we will continue with the questions. We're moving through these today. This is nice. Okay. So let's see here. Let me scroll down. Got romantic. Okay, Motive Gaming.
Super chat.
With YouTube SEO, is it possible to become a stronger influencer in the game streaming category on YouTube? So here's the thing is, through variety gaming.
Super chat.
So here's the thing when it comes to YouTube SEO, is when you're thinking of YouTube SEO and you're only thinking of YouTube SEO, which is common for, for people that are getting started, because that's what all the information out there is about. You're actually putting a little bit of a limit on yourself. So yes, SEO, search engine optimization, is what that stands for. But YouTube search is what you're in that situation. You're trying to show up when people are looking for stuff. So that's a win, right? You can get a lot of viewers that way. You can grow your channel massively by doing that. However, if you really want to speed things up, then what you have to do is you have to learn how to optimize your videos for SEO, but also for discovery on the platform. So it doesn't matter what surface on YouTube that your content shows up, what device, whatever, it's compelling enough that the people that are interested in what it is that you're doing, that you're trying to reach, will click on those and come in and participate in what it is that you're doing. So because of that, when you're thinking of, YouTube SEO, is it possible to become a stronger influencer in the game streaming category through variety gaming? When you're thinking of it from that perspective, absolutely. If you can solidify search positions for particular games, showing people how to do specific things, then absolutely. Then you over time will create that resource. And the better you get at making content and getting people to respond to that content, then the better off you're going to be, in those results. However, I can tell you right now that there's probably, just watching this stream alone, there's probably at least 50 people just on this live stream that are gamers that are also making the same type of videos that you are, that are also going after YouTube search. And the reason that I'm saying that is because when you are trying to target a search term that's really competitive, that like everybody's going for, then your videos need to be exceptional. And not only do your videos need to be exceptional, but they also have to be able to get people to click at an exceptional rate. Because if you can't get people to click and then enjoy that content because it's exceptional compared to the other people that you're competing against, then in that situation, you're not going to end up showing up there for a lot of people in search. Now, search search results also morph as well. So, search results will change based on the activity of the user. Now, with that said, there is, like you can rank a video on search to where it doesn't matter what device, what account you look at it from or whatever, like you're still going to be in those spots like that. You can do that too. But the idea that I'm trying to share with you is that instead of looking at, hey, the way to win on YouTube is through SEO, I want you to start looking at SEO as the low-hanging fruit. Yes, you can win with SEO, and that's a great way to drive long-term traffic to your YouTube channel. And especially if you're a business owner, getting some stuff ranked in search around what it is that you do can just drive you leads, indefinitely until somebody comes along and bumps you out of those spots. However, when you are, putting all of your content together and you're packaging it up in terms of topic, title, and thumbnail, it's really important to make sure that you're also thinking of, if this were to show up next to another video on YouTube, if this were to show up on YouTube's homepage, what about how I'm packaging this up in my title and thumbnail? What is it specifically that would cause the people that I'm trying to reach with this particular video that would cause them to click on this? What's your theory in terms of what is it that would push somebody over the edge on this? So of course you do the obvious things, like you would say the game name, right? So that they know if there's somebody that plays Fortnite or Call of Duty or GTA or whatever, they would know, okay, well, this video is about this, right? So it's clear there. The imagery that you're using, it's clear there, so that when you're showing up next to other videos on YouTube on their home pages, because they watch tons of Call of Duty content, you want to make sure that it's clear to them that your video is about Call of Duty as well through the imagery, and then of course having the word Call of Duty in the title as well. But basically you just have to get really good at being able to identify in your packaging, in your title and thumbnail, exactly why somebody should click on what it is that you're doing. Because one of the things I say here a lot is if you can't figure out why somebody should click on what it is that you're doing, then you can't expect other people to click on it either. So you have to put that much thought and that much effort and be that mindful of what it is that you're doing, that you can actually define why it is that somebody should be clicking on what you're doing. If you can do that, then your videos are going to show up in search. Your videos are going to show up on home pages and get clicked there. Your videos are going to show up next to other videos on YouTube and they're going to get clicked there. When people are scrolling on a mobile device, you're going to stop them in their tracks. You're going to grab their attention. You're going to be able to push them over the edge by being compelling and getting them to click on what it is that you're doing. Okay. So instead of just thinking search, think discovery. I'm trying to get my videos discovered. It doesn't matter what service I'm seen on. I want people to click on my stuff. If you can start taking that approach, then you'll start getting some much better results on YouTube. But here's the thing. In order to make all that happen, you have to be competitive with what it is that you're doing. So you have to be able to get, clicks and watches, watch time and just satisfaction according to YouTube. You have to be able to get that stuff at a competitive rate compared to everybody else that you're competing against. If you can, then in that situation, then you'll win and you'll be fine. But if you can't, then you have to look in the mirror and say, okay, right now I'm lacking in this area. If it's thumbnail design, if it's writing titles, if it's putting the content together, you have to own it and you have to say, I'm lacking in this area. And then you have to work hard on improving that particular thing. Amit Panchai
Super Chat
says, can we use celebrity pick in the thumbnail? Please suggest a source for free picks for thumbnails. And you did that one twice. So thank you. So basically when it comes to celebrity photos, technically, if you want to get technical about it, when somebody submits a DMCA to the ADHD Gardener, I think you're watching this like way back because I just saw your chat right here saying Rick and Morty is awesome. So unless somebody else brought that up, like you're watching like way back. I talked about Rick and Morty like probably like 40 minutes ago. Skip forward. Maybe not. Maybe there's a side conversation going on there. But basically, when it comes to using imagery that you do not own or that you don't have a license to on YouTube, technically those can receive copyright strikes as well. So because of that, anytime you're making content that could potentially receive a copyright strike or a claim, in that situation, you have to make sure that you're able to defend and be able to, just like you have to define why somebody can click, you have to define why you think that it's fair use and what it is that you're doing. Excuse me.
If you're enjoying the show, remember to give it a thumbs up and share it with a friend right now.
All right, next up.
Super Chat
Finger Studio says, could it be possible that YouTube's actually botting views and subs of people doing shorts? I've been checking my analytics and I got similarities. Thoughts? No, absolutely not. Here's the difference. The reason that people are getting like crazy response off of shorts is because on the video side, when it comes to like long form content, 2-minute videos, 3-minute videos, 10-minute videos, 30-minute videos, hour-long videos, whatever, 500 hours, over 500 hours of videos are uploaded to YouTube every minute. Right? That's your competition. That's what you're competing against when you upload a video. When you upload a short, I'm not sure how many hours of those are uploaded every minute, but I guarantee you it's not 500 because it's taken, over a decade to get to 500 hours of video every minute. So because of that, the difference is that you are taking advantage of a new feature on YouTube, and every time they roll something out new, I got to take advantage of this when they rolled out the mobile live streaming, because basically, when they rolled out the mobile live streaming, the day that I got it, I went live, and I've been going live not every single Saturday. I've missed some times, but I've been going live almost every week since I got the mobile live streaming. Basically, when they rolled that out, what would happen is that I would go live and I would do it from my phone, and then when I would do it from my phone, I would actually show up on YouTube's live page, because they have a page where it shows like live streams and stuff. And I would show up as like one of the few results on the live page there, which was really cool because that, allowed me to get in front of like a decent amount of people at that point in time, which was awesome. So, when it comes to new features on YouTube, shorts or stories or community tab or, anything like that, it's important to make sure that you are using them, because you can get substantial gains from them, just because it's a new feature and you don't have competition there, or a lot of competition there. Let's see here. Decision of Power
Super Chat
says, hey, Nick, do you think interviewing successful profiles on your chosen industry, Forex, crypto trading in my case, is a good idea to help the channel grow? I've hit 60 subs in 2 weeks. Thanks, Nick. So when it comes to interviewing influential people in your space, that's a proven way for podcasts to grow. So technically, as long as they share, hey, I did this, interview on this YouTube channel, go check it out. As long as that influential person shared that, then absolutely you can get the direct gains from that. But also when you are talking about, higher profile people, there is some type of interest in that person. So because of that, when you're optimizing your video around that person for the interview, then when people are actually looking for that person, then you could be one of the results that actually show up, around that person as well. So it is a way that you can grow the channel. So, definitely experiment with it. But when it comes to that, also think of things like, okay, when I do these interviews with people, I need to make sure that I'm strongly optimizing these for discovery. I need to make sure that I'm having them send me pictures so that I can have good looking thumbnails. I need to make sure that in my thumbnail I'm focusing on them in the photo, because if I'm focusing on them in the photo and then my video is optimized around them, then that is that's going to be the thing that's going to grab the attention of the people who are interested in that person. Now in the future, as your influence grows and more people get to know you, then of course you can swap that around or have you both in the thumbnail or whatever. But the idea is that you just lean heavily on the influence of that person so that you can basically get in front of people that are interested in that particular person. Science-based fitness.
Super Chat.
What's up? Hope that you are doing great. Let's see here. It says, hey, question, my Nick, what am I talking about? Okay, my retention goes down when I go into studies explaining fitness principles. Would you recommend adding B-roll? Also, what's a good retention time? I'm around 40% for most 5 to 7 minute videos. Okay, so if you notice that your retention is going down, when you go into studies explaining fitness principles, that it tells you that at scale, as long as you're getting, a decent amount of views, it shows you that at scale, that your audience isn't necessarily interested, or the people that are right now, the people that are interacting with that content isn't necessarily into you explaining the fitness principles, right? That's the beauty of the audience retention reports, is they start to help you identify this kind of stuff. So what you need to do is you need to think, okay, so I want to keep sharing this information, so I need to run some tests and see what I can do to see if I can get people more interested in this information. And when you are trying to get people more interested in the information, then in that situation, that's where you start thinking like, okay, if I'm thinking in mass, like how do I get the masses to respond to what it is that I'm doing? Then let's try B-roll. Let's try using, maybe like I think Video Scribe is the tool that a lot of people use for it. But maybe I need to start doing some like whiteboard animations for those parts and have like a little segment. So so that, you talk about whatever it is you talk about. As soon as you get into the fitness-based principles, then, you have the whiteboard animation that comes up and you're, going through that process. And then it goes away that way. See if that holds their attention. And then also try to make some videos where you just completely cut out that part and you just talk about, the other stuff around it without adding the principles to it. Other things that you can do on the viewer experience side of things is you could also use timestamps in the video or chapters. And when you add those chapters, that would give the people that are paying attention enough to realize that there's chapters there. That would give those people the option to chat or to skip that. And you could also tell them as well that you have the chapters down there. Just do it quick, but just let them know, hey, I've got chapters down there, so you can skip to the part of the video that you care about the most. And then you might be able to see there as well. You could use that information to figure out what your viewers care about most as well within your content. So you would just be very clear on those chapters so that as they're clicking into those, you'd see those spikes in your retention to know that those are the places that people, enjoy more, the things that they want more from you. On your 40% for 5 to 7 minute videos, I'm not sure, impression wise and things like that, or your particular, channel, what you want to do is you just want to look at your high performing videos on your channel and you want to start uncovering from there based on the amount of impressions that I get, based on the amount of views that I get from those impressions. What does the retention look like on my higher performing videos in terms of minutes watched and percentage viewed? You want to look at that on your higher performing videos. And then over time, as you start having more and more of those, then you'll start to be able to identify what a performing video looks like on your channel. All right. Let's see here. Next up on the list, we have Wallbreaker. Says coffee on me. Enjoy. Thank you for that, Wallbreaker. I appreciate it. And Finger Studio says, fair enough. By the way, your content is, and it's getting truncated there. Give me 1 second. So your content is great. Keep it up. Thank you, Finger Studio. Glad that you are enjoying it. Okay. So let's see here. Cetonic says scale. Okay. So next up on our list here, we have Equestrian Cat. Says they upload when they have time. They do it on an iPad or iPhone. The type of channel is Hamster, Horses, and Cats channel. It's interesting. And the goal of the channel is just to do it as a hobby. And the question, I try all I can, but I can't find good video ideas ever. Also, I don't know how to enable comments. So basically, to enable your comments, you have to make sure that as long as your content is not made for kids, then you have to make sure that you mark it as not made for kids. You have to do that in order for your comments to be enabled. And then from the video ideas section, what you want to do is you want to go into the comment section of anybody that makes videos on cats, horses, or hamsters. And you want to go into their comments and start mining for ideas in their comments based on some of the things that people say there. Don't try to take their viewers, but just go in and just start looking to see the things that people are talking about in their comments and look for inspiration there. Look in any magazines or websites about dogs or about horses, cats, and hamsters because they've been, making content about them as well. And that will give you some insights into the things that people care about around hamsters, horses, and cats as well. So that should give you a few ideas. All right. So next up on the list, let's see here. And I saw a few super chats come in, and I'll hop on those right here in a second. The channel is Jake's Amazing World. Hope you're doing great, Jake. They have a gaming channel. The goal of the channel says, I want to have fun. And the question, how do I get a good live stream on mobile? So, of course, it's going to be slightly dependent on the camera that you have on your mobile device. But when you are live streaming from a mobile device, just like when you're live streaming from a Canva, you can see I'm mentally falling apart right now. So basically, and you get to watch the progression over the next like hour and a half here on the live stream as my lack of sleep last night catches up to me. But basically, when it comes to lighting, here, I'll give you a quick demo. So basically, when you are live streaming on a phone or with a camera, lighting, makes a huge difference on, how things look. So, you can see here, if I just have like this lighting, then it looks this way. If I have on the other one, then it looks this way. Let me see if I can get that one off. But basically, having different lights in here makes a big difference. And you can also see that I have another one here to kind of crisp me off over here. That one's happening up there. But the idea is that you have to make sure that you're being very mindful of the light. So there's an app called Filmic Pro that lets you dial in all of your settings for your phone on a live stream or as a video. So when you're doing that, you can adjust the frame rate, you can adjust the exposure, the ISO, all that stuff. So what you want to do is you want to lock in your exposure in, you want to lock in, everything, your ISO through something like Filmic Pro, and then you want to build your lights around that. Right. And then when you're doing that, then that will help you make your live streams look better. Now, just as a side note, you can use apps for that. You can use like Streamlabs mobile app for that. You can use Switcher Studio if you're on an iPhone. You can also now with StreamYard, you can just stream directly to StreamYard through the browser on your mobile device as well. So, you got a lot of options in terms of, ways to stream from your phone. But when it comes to making it look better, just keep it stable, right? Keep it stable so that people don't get sick when they're watching, and just be very mindful of the light and how the light's hitting you or whatever it is that you happen to be focusing on in your stream. Let's see here.
Super
Next up on our
chat.
list, we've got Adoption with Nairi. Says, an adopt couple following me and liked my content, asked if I would like them to film at home. They're preparing to adopt. Good idea to publish. Yeah, make sure that you have them sign off on it as well. So you'll want to make sure that you get model releases for them. Like if they're technically, I mean, if you really want to protect yourself, you should be doing that with other YouTubers as well, but they're more familiar with the thing. But just in case there's anything weird that happens with them, or, they have anything weird go on to where they're like, hey, we want you to take the video down, whatever, make sure that you get a model release for them where they're giving you permission. If you go to iancorzine.com, he actually has model releases there that you can download. I think there's a price attached to him. I know he gives away some stuff and then some you have to pay for, and I'm not sure for the model releases, but basically with that, what they're doing is they're giving you permission to use them in your video and to publish the video, and they're kind of giving up their rights basically so that you can use them in the video. So in that situation, I think it would be a cool video for what you're doing because you can actually document their experience. I think that's great for your channel. And you'll see, right? That's one of the things to experiment with. Maybe people will be like, oh, this is great because I get to see the process. Maybe people will be like, hey, I didn't like being in those people's house and seeing everything happen, for real, But I would definitely experiment with it though. Okay. So next up on the list here, we have, let's see, Cazadors.
Super chat.
719. Good morning, Nick. Good morning, Cazadors. Says, small channel, does it hurt AdSense to do more live videos or Premiere? Because all those live viewers will not see the replay with ads. So basically, when you have your, when you are looking for how to make more money from ad revenue, then in that situation, you can, from Premieres and from your live streams, you can get super chats from those, which would make up for the ad revenue that you would lose, as long as your content type supports it, or you can be, or as long as you can be creative and find a way for people to be able to, super chat you. Then in that situation, that would make up for some of the ad revenue loss that you would get. In addition to that, depending on the type of content that you make, you could also bring attention to like affiliate things and stuff like that during your live streams as well, which could also help, absorb some of that loss that you would take from the ad revenue. So, yes, you would. Well, actually, for the people on the replay, you can serve them ads. You can also serve ads for people coming into the live stream as well. So you can do that. So you can basically turn the ads on so that when people are coming into the live stream, then they get served an ad also. But just be mindful, if you're new to YouTube, you might not know this, but just be mindful that when you have ads enabled on your videos or your live streams, not every viewer that comes into the live stream or every viewer that comes into the video is actually seeing an ad. So because of that, just be mindful of that and just know that some of the viewers that are coming in are seeing ads. Let's see here. Let me make sure I answered that question right. Small channels that hurt AdSense to do more live Premiere. Okay. Yeah. So with both of those, actually, they will see the ads coming in as long as you have ads enabled. Some of the viewers will, just like they would if it was a piece of video content. Lazy That's Me says, I was getting about 60,000 plus views on videos and it stopped, and most of the traffic was coming from browse features. CTR is usually 12 to 19%. Watch time is perfect, but the views down to 10,000 or less. Okay, so in that situation, what you have to start thinking about is you have to start digging into the actual topics that you're covering, how you're packaging those topics. in terms of just general interest. So like if you are getting people to respond, like if you're getting a lot of impressions on those, of course you are, because you're getting 60,000 plus views per video, then in that situation, if you're getting 12 to 19% on that with that type of traffic, then you're doing fantastic. So what you need to do in your situation is I would go through and I would compare all of your videos, and I would look topically to see exactly what it was that you were doing in the videos that were getting the traffic from the home pages or just from browse features in general, compared to what's happening now. In addition to that, I would also look into how the videos themselves were getting a response. So for example, one thing that you might want to look for, I'll just give you a handful of things. So right out of the gate, on the videos that were doing very well for you, compare those videos, compare the actual click-through rate from all the different traffic sources, compare the percentage viewed, compare the total watch time, go in and look at the relative audience retention as well, so you can see how you compare videos of the similar length on the platform for each one of your performing videos. Also look for how many people are clicking on your end screens as well for those videos, because if you have a higher complete rate on those videos and you have a lot of people clicking on your end screens on those, and they're going in and they're watching other content for a long period of time and so on, then YouTube actually tells us this, but you can also prove it. You'll see it on your channel too. But basically YouTube tells us that the originating video that drives people deeper into the platform and keeps people engaged, those videos are more likely to get surfaced elsewhere on the platform. So because of that, you want to go in and look at things like your end screens as an example and see how many people are going in and clicking into your end screens and watching additional content, so that you can see if maybe that's the difference. Maybe you change the call to action at the end of your video. Maybe you're not getting as many people to complete the videos. Maybe you are not getting as many people to actually click on your end screens. Maybe, and I'm just throwing this out theoretically, just based on things that I've seen, because I don't have I can't pull your channel up right now. But it could be things like you used to use a video with a direct call to action of you telling them to go watch something, and then you also had a best for viewer on there, and for whatever reason you decided to take the best for viewer off, but you weren't really mindful of it, and then that caused the performance of those videos to drop, because people aren't clicking through that best for viewer even though they're completing the video. It could also be in that situation where you just could have changed anything about your end screen, or you could be ending your videos a little bit different to where you're not getting people to click on those. But I would look at that. I would also just look at the overall engagement that you're getting on the videos as well, in terms of likes, comments, all of that, on the high performing videos compared to the lower performing videos as well. So dig into your stats. The map is there for you, or the answer is inside of your stats. You just have to dig in and figure out what it is. So one thing that I can give you a tip on, when you're analyzing all this stuff, you can look at it directly in your YouTube analytics. If you're like me, you may or may not be, but I'm a very visual person. So since I'm a visual person, one thing that I like to do with information is I like to color code things, because that helps me be able to visually be able to say like, hey, this whole string here is like this color. And basically what I'm getting at is you can export your YouTube analytics as a CSV file. You can open it up in like Google Docs as an example, or as in an Excel. And then you can go through and you can basically start adding some things as well, like, okay, my end screen clicks, or my end screen click percentage. You can start adding those types of things to it as well. And when you do that, then what you're going to see is if you start color coding them, then you can say like, okay, bright green, for example. Mine was always red, just so it grabbed my attention. But let's say that bright green is the one that is going to be like the highest performing metric for that particular thing, and you'll have to change it. You'll have to update it as you add videos into it. But basically, as an example, you would say, okay, on my high performing videos, the amount of impressions that I got compared to my click through rate, this is green compared to the other videos here. The people completing the video, this is green compared to the videos, the other videos here. These are all like yellows and blues. And then you'll start noticing, if you do it that way, you'll start noticing like most of your high performing content, there's a lot of similarities in terms of how people are responding to it. And then that'll start giving you tons of insight into why, one content set or one thing that you're doing before, how it was performing better than now. Additional things just to be mindful of is, I'm not sure exactly what it is that you're making content about, but another thing to think of as well is if you have had other people come in, like let's say there was just a flood of people like around the new year that started making YouTube content, and let's say those particular people started, there's a nice amount of people that started making content just like yours, and it's taking some of the attention away from you, that can hurt your numbers as well. So just be mindful of, all those different variables. But just as a heads up too, just another thing really quick, just because this is, because you were making some good ad money and stuff with this. So I want to help you with this. But basically another thing to consider is if you are familiar with your YouTube analytics and how to use it or how to use them, with that grouping feature that I was talking about before, if you were here, you can also compare like date ranges as well. So you can actually go in and you can look at your stats, before compared to now, and just get a general idea to see if anything is obvious, anything stands out compared to how the videos were performing previously compared to how they're performing now. Let's say like, like 2 months ago compared to like this month as an example. Hopefully that helped. Okay, so next up on our list here, we have
Super Chat.
Tube Spanner. What's up, Danielle? Hope that you're doing awesome. Says, thanks for the years and years and years of solid gold tips, advice, and Nimminisms. Nimminisms, I like that. Yeah, so thank you, Danielle. So Tube Spanner, by the way, Tube Spanner is something that I've partnered with her, and we are basically in the process. It's already an awesome tool, but we're in the process of like fine tuning Tube Spanner into something that is just awesome. You guys are just going to go bonkers over this once we start like bringing awareness to it, and once we get some of these final features, not final, but some of these like initial features done, you're gonna go bonkers over Tube Spanner. So I'm really excited to show this to you guys here. Really soon, actually. We're almost there. Cooking with Grace always
Super
says,
Chat.
hey, Nick, how to collab with other YouTubers. This is a great question. How many people here are interested in collaborating with other YouTube content creators? Just give me a hashtag me.
If you're enjoying the show, remember to give it a thumbs up and share it with a friend right now.
So when it comes to collaborating with other YouTube content creators, if you don't know how to do it, the very first place to start, of course, is in communities on like Facebook, Reddit, places like that around the type of content that you make. So, of course, like as an example here, like Heidi, right? Heidi from Costume CO. So she's here. She does costuming related content. She's looking for a collaboration right now. If there's anybody that makes costuming related content, then you might be a great fit for Heidi. As an example, the question that we answered before about the EVA foam, you guys might be able to work something out in terms of collaboration. So, like using, the communities that you are a part of, just kind of putting yourself out there like, hey, I make this type of content, looking for, collaborators and so on. That's one way. In addition to that, another thing that you want to, or another thing that you can do is if you have channels that you want to collaborate with, is you can contact them. Every YouTube channel, as long as it's set up properly, has on their About Me page has a business inquiry email. You can actually send those content creators emails through that email, and you can let them know that you're going to collaborate or that you're wanting to collaborate. Now, when you do reach out for collaboration, hey, Penny, nice to see you in here. When you do reach out for collaboration, you want to make sure that you have a plan of some kind. So, hey, I'm putting this video together. I think that you would be a great fit. Here's the idea for the video. Try to make it as succinct as possible, and then ask them, if they want to participate or not. If so, just reply, and then you'll, send them, additional information on the collaboration. In addition to that, also reaching out to people on Twitter. You can go old school and just be like, hey, do you want to collab? And just see what people respond, because that might get them to go to your actual channel page, which then they would click on or not your channel page, but like if you're on Twitter, then they would, click on your link in your bio, which by the way, everybody should be using that link in bio to send to like a contact page or something like that, so that you can have like your YouTube there, you can have like your email there, your Twitter there, your TikTok there, all of that good stuff. Everybody should be using those, or just going to your website. But I know a lot of you don't have websites, so you at the very least should have a link going to like a contact page of some kind for you. But or just something where they can just have all of your stuff, so they can see what you do, especially if you're trying to get people to collaborate with you. But basically, when you're doing that, you have, all that stuff there, and then they would be able to, email you directly. They'd be able to look at your YouTube channel and the other stuff that you're involved with to see if there's a good fit for you somewhere, right? In terms of the collaboration. There's also an app as well. As long as he's still putting it out there, I think he is. I'm in Asia, so since I'm in Thailand, it's something that, I don't really use here. If I was in the States, I'd use it all the time. But basically, it's called Collab Space. And Collab Space is also, it's an app. And I'm not sure if it's Android and iPhone. I think it is. But with the Collab Space app, you can also find, collaborators in there as well. All right. So next up on the list, we have Let's see here, how to collab. Yeah. Okay. So another thing when it comes to collab, first, just go to Nick Nimmin collaboration or Nick Nimmin how to collab in YouTube search. And I've got videos on this as well. But another thing, because I explained the process and how to set everything up and all that. But another thing that can be advantageous for you also is when you do send out that email, letting people know that you want to collaborate with them with the plan and all that. Also having like a Google Doc and sharing that Google Doc with them so that if they do decide to collab, they can go in and add their notes to that Google Doc as well. So you know what they're supposed to do. They know what they're supposed to do. You have like the publish date and the approval date where you send the footage back and forth. You might also want to set up a Dropbox account with the Dropbox account, at least on the business Dropbox accounts. I'm not sure if you can do it on the personal ones, but you can actually invite people to upload as well. So if they do decide to go with it, just have everything taken care of so that you take all the heavy lifting away from them and you're doing that because you're the one reaching out for the collaboration. So, have it to where you can invite them into your Dropbox, have it so that they can upload their content there, have a Google Doc so that they can, bring you in that way, so that you can make sure that you are, doing everything in an organized fashion, because that will, let them know that you're serious with what it is that you're doing, professional, all that good stuff, which will also improve your chances of getting people to collaborate with you. Let's see here. Nursing quality concept is the next question here on our list, and they do educational types of content. And the goal of the channel is teaching other nurses how to clinical reasoning with nursing diagnosis, interventions, and patient outcomes. That sounds complicated. So the question, how much do I need to niche down? Is nursing my topic and profession enough, or do I need to target the deeper topics? Got my plan almost ready. Also tested the recording editing process. Going to start publishing the first videos next month. Fingers crossed. Okay. So when it comes to niching down, one of the things that I'm trying to just bring people's attention lately is that a lot of people think that when you're niching down, that it means that you have this limitation of content that you can make, which is kind of true, because of course, if you're making nursing content, making a tech review video doesn't make sense, right? So you are limited in some capacity there in terms of extremes. But when it comes to making nursing related content, that you're teaching other nurses. That's what you started this with. I'm teaching other nurses about XYZ. That you're reaching nurses. So because of that, you can talk about anything regarding being a nurse. You can turn your YouTube channel, just like I've turned my channel into a resource for YouTube content creators. You can do the same exact thing for nurses. So basically what you do is you talk about anything and everything related to being a nurse. You can talk about, balancing your family life. You can talk about, how you are maintaining your sanity, while the thing that's going on in the world right now while we're dealing with this. You can talk about how you're, navigating that. You can talk about, workplace issues. You can talk about, the clinical reasoning stuff that you were talking about, and interventions and patient outcomes. You can talk about all that. But literally, like, if you know that you're reaching nurses, then in that situation, every thumbnail that you make or every title that you make should have the word nurses or other language that would be specific to nurses in terms of things that nurses would understand if you're trying to create an audience of nurses. So as an example, if you look at my stuff, you'll see that in almost every thumbnail and or title, I mention YouTube or YouTubers, unless it's like live streaming or mobile. Then in that situation, I'll call out the device or I'll call out the software, whatever it happens to be. Or if I'm trying to bring attention to something, then I'll just target like the latest video I did, for example. That video is a slow burner, which basically means it's going to suck out of the gate, but it'll do fine over time. But basically that particular video, because that was a sponsored video that I did for StreamYard. So because of that, my goal with that video is to bring attention to StreamYard. So it wasn't a, I didn't try to get attention for, how to use StreamYard, because that's not going to bring attention to StreamYard. That's going to bring attention to people that already know how to use StreamYard. So instead, I made a video about, how to go live easy on YouTube. And then what that's doing is that's targeting live streamers. People that are interested about going live on YouTube, but they are intimidated by it, or they're intimidated by the technology behind live streaming. But through the packaging of that video, it's clear that that video is for live streamers. And I'm also saying that it's easy, which means that I'm trying to find the people that are looking for the easiest possible way to live stream, which will lead them into StreamYard, right? So when you are making your nursing content, do the same exact thing. So just call out nurses, call out very specific things that nurses would be able to identify that video is for them right out of the gate when you are putting your content out there, and you'll be off to a great start in that situation. So just one more thing I want to say is when it comes to niching down, it doesn't matter if you're gaming, it doesn't matter if you're, doing nursing content, if you're doing quilting content, whatever it is that you're doing. The idea isn't that, you have that massive limitation on your content. The idea is that you're niching for an audience. You're niching down for a particular interest set. And that interest set in her case is that it's nurses, right? In my case, it's that it's YouTube content creators or live streamers, right? Because I have different pillars of content on my channel. But basically, the idea is that you're niching down for the audience, not necessarily only the content, right? You're niching the audience down, not yourself down. Okay. Okay. So next up on our list here, we have adult piano progress.
Super chat.
When we had our lockdown here, I was like, you know what? I'm going to learn how to play the piano, a little bit better. And because now I can just like hammer stuff out and I can know like what sounds good, but I don't know like how to actually like, sit down and actually like jam out on piano. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to spend my time doing that. But I ended up spending my time doing other stuff instead. So it's still on my list. But seeing your channel name is just that reminder that like, hey, dude, you said that you're going to do this. You told yourself you're going to do this. So thanks for the reminder. Okay. So one post, one video every 2 weeks. One has blown up. I have 2 ready to go. Should I post them sooner, even though I can't keep up that frequency in the future? So if you have a video, if you've only put out 2 videos and one blew up, absolutely follow that video up. Give it a little bit of time to breathe. Give it a couple of days, which I'm going to guess you already have. But give it a couple of days just so that it can get the activity, so you don't end up, kind of cannibalizing that video. But absolutely put out another piece of content, relatively soon. But ultimately, it would be best when you're putting out the content, instead of thinking like, hey, should I just rush this video out? Instead, be strategic about it and think, okay, this video is blowing up right now. The thing that I taught people how to do in this particular video, what would be the logical next step for them with this next video that I'm going to put out? So even if you already have 2 made, if those 2 wouldn't be an exact match for that next logical step, then in that situation, move those to the side and make another one that would be. Because what you want to happen is all of those people that are interacting with your channel right now, when they see that next video and it's the next logical step, then in that case, they're like, hey, I just learned how to do this. Now I'm going to learn how to do this because, it makes sense as the next logical step. And then you'll be able to get them to click more and be able to get them coming back to the channel more. And YouTube loves that. So because of that, just think like next logical step. How can I take advantage of the situation of those people interacting with that piece of content and they enjoyed it, which caused it to take off. So now I need to follow that up with something that would be relevant to those people that just interacted with that content at a high level or at a higher level than normal. Brian G. Johnson back in the house. Brian G. Johnson, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, which I have it here in my B-roll shot right here. But Tube Ritual Volume 1. I got a link to this down in the description. It's Brian's book. I've also got the other one here that I have is YouTube Secrets. But basically, both of these are in the description below. But basically with Tube Ritual Volume 1, this will help you grow your channel from 0 or higher, whatever, to 5,000 subscribers and more. And the way that it helps you is because it teaches you the foundational best practice stuff and teaches you about how to think about YouTube and all that so that you can make sure that you're making the right decisions when it comes to growing your channel. So there's a link to that down in the description below. All right. And I'm actually going to drop a link here. So if anybody wants to come in, Brian, or I think Roberto was in here earlier as well, or anybody else that happens to be in the group here in Facebook. And where did it go? Where did it go? Oh, no, it's gone. Okay. So I need to find that group again real quick. I'm going to drop the link in there. And then if you want to come in, cool. If not, then, that's cool as well. Let's see here. Understand folks are busy. All right. That's how easy it is for StreamYard. Basically, I just clicked one button, hit the invite link, dropped it in the Facebook group there, and then now some folks can come in. So let's see here. So Little Crafty Nook says, oh, geez. We got some people saying, hey, Brian, need to get some ladies to come into your live streams. We do from time to time. I know Luria from Live Streaming Pros has been in here a handful of times, actually. And with the time zones and things like that, it's like there's women in this group that I share it to. It's just that, they just don't come in or, it just doesn't line up with their schedules and whatnot. So saying no pressure. But yeah, absolutely. Let's see here. So let's see here. So, and.plays says, hey, Nick, hope you do a free live review for us small channels. Would really appreciate it. More power, Nick. Thank you for that. And so basically when it comes to these live streams, I'll actually start doing some channel reviews here in the future, but right now I'm reserving that for channel members to where I go and I give them, some tips on the things that they're doing. So I'm reserving those for channel members just because they do take up a considerable amount of time, especially like it's funny. Any channel member here that participates in that will tell you that my intention when I start the live stream, so that I go live in there for an hour and I'm pretty strict about the time, in terms of an hour, because I just tend to go for a really long time. So because of that, I'm like, hey, I'm going to try to make it quicker. David, I see you'll bring in right here in a second, but basically with the members only streams, like I'll be like, hey, I'm going to get through like a bunch of these. And I end up getting through like three or four, because I just sit there and I'm like, bam, 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 and just hammering them on stuff. It's great. Let's see here. So next up on our list, I just want to say really quick, ladies and gentlemen, the live streaming genius, the guy that builds like a lot of the YouTube studios that you see all over the internet for some high profile marketers and high profile YouTube content creators, David Foster from Boom. I can't hear you, David. Either I can't hear you or I have this muted, one of the two. Impartial Geeks. Hold on really quick. Nope, mute site there. Get there. Okay, so I'm just gonna keep on talking then while he's working on that, and then we'll see if we can get him. Okay, so let's see. Brian G. Johnson says from his mama. That's right. Okay, so I got to turn off this thing here really quick as well, so that we can have a. There we go. So it's not bouncing all over the place. Okay, so
check.
Got it. You're in.
Okay. Just had to refresh.
What's up, man? So basically, if you guys have live streaming questions, like this is your dude right here. So tons of experience in live streaming for Twitch and for YouTube as well, and for Facebook. Like if you want to know anything about live streaming, like now's the time to ask your questions for live streaming, because he's got like all the answers. All of them? Do you have all of them?
I think I have like maybe 70% of them.
Okay, so that's a lot. That's a lot. Yeah. So we'll say a lot of answers instead of all the answers. We'll say a lot.
And I only have 70% of them if they're the right question. So,
first Tube Spanner says Danielle says what mic is that?
This is the Lewitt 240 Pro, and I have it going into the Go XLR.
Nice.
Which is what makes it sound good.
Is one where you can put like sound effects and make your voice like change.
Yeah, I can change it.
And use all kind of effects, and I love that I can
self if I happen to want to say some choice.
That's good.
Yeah,
that's good. I need one of those. Quick with it though. I need a guest version of that, right? Where I can like have it come in and like mute people on the guest, because I've had to. I've needed that button a few times, more than once.
Unfortunately, it doesn't work the other way. So if you said something, if I bleep you, they'd still hear it.
Yeah. So we won't experiment with that then. Yeah, it's probably not So the next question here that we have is Marisol Canoy says, and I hope I'm saying your name right. I apologize if not. Says, just want to thank you, Nick. All of your content makes sense. I was looking at your content when I was under 1,000. Helps a lot. Now road to 5,000. Thanks. High five and fist bump to you for the gains that you're getting, and thank you for the kind words. I appreciate it. So David, man, how are you, man? All good?
Good. Yeah. Just working up a storm every day, doing the grind. You know how it is.
Is that the one from, what is it? Toy Story? Is it Toy Story?
Yep. Pizza Planet.
Nice.
Yeah. I'm a Pixar lover.
That's good. As a side thing, you probably know this if you're a Pixar lover, but just for the people watching. So when it comes to Pixar, the shirt that he's wearing, they actually hide that delivery truck in tons of the Pixar movies. Did you know that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's also a number that they hide, and I can't remember what it is, but yeah, the animators have been doing that for years, like hiding little messages for other animators.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
I didn't see the numbers too, but yeah, like I ran across the pizza win, and I was like, oh my gosh, it was on Reddit. I saw the pizza win, and then I saw they had all of these different screenshots. I was like, man, that's so fun. That has to be fun for them. So let's see. Our next question that we have here on the list as we continue on with some questions here. We have, let's see here. Tina Bina says, love that channel name, just rolls right off the tongue. Says they have a gaming channel. The goal of the channel is to grow a community of Nintendo Switch players and feel welcome as they participate in my live streams. Question, how do I get more people to subscribe to my channel? I've been uploading for 9 years Still haven't reached at least 1,000. Is there something I'm doing wrong with my videos? So if you've been uploading to YouTube for 9 years and you are at 1,000, you've been able to get 1,000 people to subscribe to your channel, then there are definitely improvements to be made. There's something happening there because basically people subscribe on YouTube because of something that they get out of what it is that you do. So for example, like on David's channel, Impartial Geeks. So like on his channel, like you go there and, you hear him talk about tech and that he's very knowledgeable when it comes to just tech in general, plus live streaming tech, plus, with all of his live streams and stuff, he's there and he's helping people just like I do here with like YouTube stuff. He does that with live streaming stuff on everything that he's doing. So what people get out of David is they get, knowledge about the tech. They get fun because, as you could tell with the box that he's using and stuff like that, he goes way above and beyond and trying to make his streams a good time as well. So they get entertainment, they get information as well, and people get direct help. And all of those things are direct value that they get from him, which will cause them to subscribe to his channel. Now, and when it comes to YouTubers just in general, the same exact thing applies. Like, you go to some channels because, they get you fired up. You go to some channels because they're inspirational and they get you inspired. You go to other channels because they just teach you exactly what it is you need to know without the stuff. You go and watch some animation channels because they blow your mind with some of the information that they share or the way that they put their art together. You listen to, specific music channels because, the way that they make you feel with the music. So, all of these different things are basically in exchange for what it is that you're doing with your content. So when your content gives something to people, then they respond with that subscribe so they can get more of what it is that they get from you. So what you have to think about is if you're not converting viewers into subscribers, then you have to go take a really hard look in the mirror and you have to say, why? Why are people not subscribing to what it is that I'm doing? Is it clear the value that you're offering? Are you as entertaining as you think that you are? Are you even getting views on your stuff enough in order to have people even interact with what it is that you're doing in order to be able to subscribe? So, you have to start at the very base there and then start building up from that point. But really, in your specific situation, I would say, okay, I'm still going to keep doing what I'm doing, but I'm going to spend the next 3 months learning everything that I can possibly learn about YouTube and adding value to people and getting people to click on what it is that I'm doing and enjoy my content. If that means that I have to upgrade some of my gear, go watch David, right? Go watch David and he'll tell you exactly what you need to get. If that means that I have to learn how to be entertaining more with my streams so that I can give people a good time, then in that situation, watch a lot of live streamers that deliver that sort of thing, that make you feel that way. And just start taking, the next 3 months and just start putting a lot of time into the other things, because 9 years, you can probably live stream on autopilot these days. So because of that, start working on all of the other things around the channel that add value to other people. Do you have any additional tips on that, David?
Yeah, I mean, I have some questions too. Like, one thing that I tell people about live streaming is you have to be very consistent. You have to have a consistent streaming schedule, and you have to do it the same. Like, if you do it like once a week or 3 times a week, you need to do it at the same time every time. Because if you're doing it randomly, if you've just been like, I've been doing this for 9 years and I might upload once on Tuesday, I might go live on Wednesday at 1 o'clock, I might go live at Friday at 9, and then the next week completely different, you're not allowing your viewers to form a habit around your content, which is what you want to do. Nick goes live at the same time every week. I go live at the same time 5 days a week, every single day. So you get that consistent schedule. And what happens is people build a habit around that. Then it's like they have to be there. They want to see your content. And it's like watching the old TV shows. They look forward to the content. And then also, if you're not engaging your community, or because I haven't seen your stream. So are you just playing Nintendo and not even like showing a camera, not even talking to people, like not doing anything like that? Like, that's important too. You got to be engaging and you got to connect. Connection is very important. People go watch streams for an escape from their drudge of their daily lives, and they want to be entertained. So you have to focus on being entertaining and engaging. And if you can do that and you can do it consistently with a consistent schedule, you'd probably have better results. But then again, I don't know your schedule and what you're doing.
So there we have that. So next up on our list here, we had a super chat come in that was also a live streaming question.
Super chat.
Ukrainian Perspective with Veronica Olson says, what's the best duration for a live stream? I'm doing them often, 3 to 4 times a week, covering dating and relationship topics. Do you have any suggestions on that?
Well, so for me personally, I find that an hour or more is what you want to aim for. And the reason is it takes about 15 minutes. Like, so that's why I do a 10-minute countdown timer before my show, every show, because I found that at 15 minutes is where you generally reach about max viewers, where notifications have gone out, people have time to get in. So, there are some people, they'll go live and they're live for like 5 minutes. Well, the notifications haven't even hit people yet. So you're going to have low viewership, and that's not a way to grow, because if people are always missing your streams, that's going to be something that's frustrating for them. So I always do like a 10-minute countdown, and then after that countdown, I do at least an hour. I'm a minimum an hour, but I'll usually go 2-3 hours. Nick's a marathoner. He'll do 5, 7, 9 hours sometimes, and you can see he'll continue to retain viewers, but he'll get new viewers that are seeing that in that time. And if somebody sees that in their news feed, then they're watching. They're like, "Oh wow, you got a new fan." So the longer you keep those streams going, you're going to gain an audience. I mean, you're going to have people coming and going the whole entire time, but you're giving yourself more options to stick around and stuff. So I'd say at least an hour.
This is a quick thing, and I'm going to go full screen on my end real quick, David, just to highlight what it is that you're talking about. But basically, you can see back here. So what he was talking about there with that 15-minute mark that they found, you can see right here in mine on this screen back here. If you're on a mobile, this might be a little bit difficult to see. You might need to turn your phone sideways. But basically, like, I start the stream here at 9 o'clock, and then here by right around 9:15, we're literally like, we just climbed the mountain, so to speak. And then from there, then it stays relatively consistent, slowly growing over time, depending on what's going on in the stream. Sometimes it'll, it'll go down after a bit. But basically that 15-minute mark that he's talking about is right in here. So when it comes to the perfect length of your live stream, what he's saying there about, making sure that you're giving people time to join, especially if you're doing an hour, is really important. For me, because I go for so long, because I'll go for, like 3 hours is usually my minimum. So because of that, then in that situation, I just come in and I'm just going. I'm also focused on the replay as well. Like if I live stream on another channel, like for example, I live stream on the TubeBuddy channel, I live stream on the StreamYard channel as well. And when I go live there, it's raw content as soon as it starts until about the 30-minute mark is when I'll start asking or answering questions, and I'll start, interacting with the chat. And the reason for that is because I want to give raw content for the first like 30 minutes so that for the replay of those, so that TubeBuddy and StreamYard get a higher replay value for those streams, I have actual training content for the first like 30 minutes so that it doesn't seem as live when people come in on the replay, because on their channels, they typically, for their live streams, they don't get the response that we get here on the TubeBuddy and StreamYard channels. So I have to lean more on the replay there than I do on the, than the actual stream itself. Also, it's going to come down as well to what it is that you do. So for example, if you watch my content, there's a really good chance that you also watch Video Influencers and Think Media with Sean. And basically one of the things that they do is Sean will go live on Think Media for like 40 minutes, but his entire 40-minute segment is just raw training content. So it's not like we do here where we're like hanging out and shouting out people in the chat and like all that stuff. He might have a tiny bit of that, but it's just raw content for that entire time. And then that has great replay value because he basically takes people through a masterclass of sorts during, those particular live streams. So for him, he's found that that's a good fit for him. So what's really important for you to do is experiment. So if you're doing like training type content, then in that case, make it like an hour or less. If you're doing like hangouts like we do here to where you're doing direct Q&A related stuff, then in that case, try to go a little bit longer if you can, so that you can, like David was talking about, so you can give people like all of this, right? And I'm going to go full screen again here really quick just to show you, but all of this, right? So I was showing you the mountain that David was talking about, but then like all of this isn't like the same group of people watching this live stream the entire time. This is people coming and going, like David was talking about, through this entire live stream. And because of that, you are, as you're, interacting with people and answering questions and things like that, if you do it for a longer period of time, that's where you're going to see that. And that's why YouTube shows us like concurrent viewers and that sort of thing, to give us an idea of how many people are concurrently watching the live stream and how many people are at our peak concurrence, like where we kind of topped out during the live stream.
Well, and another thing is, like what happens if you are somebody that's just delivering meat, like you're just going to do training or whatever, and you go live. The thing is like, delivering the meat. So it's really hard to build an engaging community doing that, because you have to start with your meat and you start going. But then when you start and don't give yourself the countdown, people are going to be coming in and being like, what I miss. So you're not going to be able to watch chat, because if you start engaging them, then they're going to keep making you go backwards, go back to, what you said before. Oh, well, I was just talking about this. So it becomes a mess. So the reason, like live streaming is a way to build a community. It's a way to get to know people. It's a way to connect with people in a different way. So I think it's better to start off to do more community building with your live streams than focusing on meat, because that's a talent. Sean Cannell he is the best at that, and it is a talent.
Yeah.
And he does it for the replay. He does not, but what he does is he does engage the community, but he does it after. So you still want to do that, but you have to set that up, and there are ways that you can still do it. You can do the countdown timer and start your stream and engage, and then go right into your meat after you're done delivering the meat. Tell people, hey, I'm going to go into the meat of the subject right now. We're going to get down and dirty, and here we go. And then you deliver your information, and then you open it up again. And then what you can do is go back into YouTube afterwards, cut off the beginning, cut off the end, and you've got your meat there in the middle.
I feel like a immature child over here cracking up through the entire thing that you were saying there. Oh, I need to grow up one of these days. Yeah,
One of these days.
Yeah. Okay. So next up here, we've got Blackfish RTV says, would you suggest a minimum amount of subscribers before you begin live streaming? David?
No. What I always say is, if you're somebody that's just getting started out, you have to be more strategic with your live streams. And what I mean by that is you need to do the keyword research and all of that stuff, just like you're doing a recorded video for your live stream. So you want to make them very topical. If you're a variety streamer and you're like, I'm just going to go live and talk about random stuff at random times, no, I don't recommend you start just doing that. I recommend that if you are like live streaming is what you want to do on your channel, then you come up with your topic and you focus, and then you do keyword research and you schedule those. So do your keyword research, do your titling, do your description, make it all just like you're doing a recorded video, then schedule it ahead of time, because what happens is you will actually rank for that search before you go live as you're scheduled. And that's a way that you can get in discovery and start building an audience. Because if you, like I said, if you're just willy-nilly out there and it says 10 o'clock a.m. live stream with David, like nobody's searching that. Nobody's going to find you. It's like you're going to be yelling into a hole. But you can make that hole work by you do that too, right? Don't you pretty much do live streams for like you're doing a recorded video?
Yeah. So basically, when it comes to and Daniel and Brian, I see you guys. I'll bring you in right here in a second. Basically, when I do mine, I will optimize the titles and stuff for the discovery, like you're saying. Same exact thing. Like they'll show up, around YouTube before I even go live. But basically, what I'm trying to do is when I'm writing the titles for these, just like a video, I'm trying to leverage the title, because the thumbnail I just use the same template, which is I shouldn't do that, but I do. But basically, when it comes to the title, I'm basically just leaning into the things that YouTubers care about, so that I can, pull in YouTubers, based on that. So that's pretty much the approach that I take with that. So optimizing your live streams just like you would a video is definitely an important thing.
Even thumbnail, your thumbnail, you want to pretend like you're doing a recorded video.
Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, the hair of YouTube, Daniel Batal.
The hair.
Oh, and he's got it covered up today.
The hair behind the hat.
Yeah. And ladies and gentlemen, the one, the only ukulele player of YouTube, of the ukulele player of the YouTube help space, Brian G. Johnson. They loved it. They loved it. They loved it. That was great. Oh, did you hear that all right in there? Yeah, they love that. Yeah. Woo, Brian can really get the party moving there. Holy cow. That ukulele. Daniel's, all those guitars back there on Daniel Patel's wall. He could have just laid out a fat riff, but he gave up that opportunity to let Brian have the spotlight right there. Do you see that? That's
a single ukulele back here, though. I know my lane and I stay in it.
Love it. Hope you guys are doing great. Everybody having a good week.
Yeah, no complaints. Life's good so far.
Good. So far. Love
really
it.
good.
So the next question that we have here is from Renee Ritchie. He says, hey, Nick and David, and we'll go ahead and include Daniel and Brian in this as well. Says, David, help teach me how to stream. Think about starting a stream. What kind of stream would you want to see from my channel? For me personally, from you doing, tech related stuff, just on just like either tech Q&As or just doing direct tech reviews. So basically how you do like video content, do that, but in a live stream format. What do you guys think?
Well, I think like doing, like you're already sitting there recording your videos or whatever. I've done that to where I go live and I'll sit there and engage the chat, get them going. Then I'll say, okay, guys, I'm going to start recording. I'll sit there and then I'll record a little bit and I'll record my videos in front of them and then engage a little bit. And then all you got to do in the edit is cut out the engagement. And they love it because they're getting to see how the sausage is made, another meat reference. And people love to see that. And it gets them, part of the process, because you can say, hey guys, if you have something that you want added to the content, you might have something that you didn't even think of that somebody in your chat will be like, hey, but it does this. And then you can be, okay, we need to add that to the video. Okay, here we go. We're going to add this. And then do your segment on that and then cut again and then chop it all up at the end. And you've got yourself a video. And it's also, like I said, a way to get people in and show them how you're making the sausage.
I love the meat references.
Any additional thought? Oh man, he's just been, yeah.
I've been laying the meat today.
References down here. Yeah. It's been, yeah.
I'm just going to leave that alone.
Now we're talking about sausage. That's kind of the direction that we're moving this thing into tonight. So next question that we have here is what is and this is from Ukrainian perspective with Veronica Olson, says, what's the right category for a relationships and advice channel? Would education be it? Thank you. Great tips. What are your thoughts on categories, guys?
My thoughts are, at the end of the day, it's not something that YouTube pays a ton of attention to. So like there's tons of people who have trouble with this. The food category, anybody who's doing any kind of cooking channel, there's no food category. So it's really hard for them to pick what category they would be in. Same thing with us. I don't know, my how-to or my educational, I just pick one that's close. And at the end of the day, it's don't get distracted by that stuff. That's not the stuff that's going to change the direction of your growth strategy. Pick something that's close and let it run.
Boom. Next up, we've got Zoe Chang says, hey guys, how can I make money teaching Spanish other than directing people to my website for private lessons? Love the work that you do. Keep it up. Brian, you've got a course, right? I know David, he has courses as well. So for both of you guys, Daniel, you're like me. You don't have a course yet, right?
I'm courseless, though I do have a grill so I can cook meat.
Oh, perfect.
Nice.
Okay, you're in the right company. So we're keeping this on course. Good. So for you guys, for Brian and David, what do you guys recommend? Could you monetize, in other ways besides just sending people to buy private lessons from you? So what are your thoughts on, personal coaching versus, group coaching and courses and all that stuff?
Go ahead, Brian.
Okay, if you insist, I will now proceed to share my thoughts. I think the thing to think about first is this is really smart for everyone watching in the audience, taking a moment and saying, how am I going to monetize as I move forward, especially when you start, is the way to begin, because you don't want to build it and then wonder where the money comes from. So kudos for you for asking that. And then the thing I would say is there are so many options in any time you're really talking about something that's how-to, which a language is. You can have your own course. You can have your own coaching, like you mentioned. If I was in that situation, I would create something actually like that Daniel Battelle has. So he really does have it. He's got like a real simple way to get started with your own informational product, and that's YouTube membership, where you can provide live streams. You can provide literally create videos that are more in depth. And then those become very specific to only people that have become members of your channel. And what's great about that is you're never really asking people to leave YouTube. I always say this again and again, you want to make it easy for viewers to partake in what you create. So that goes from the videos. You want to make it easy for people to click, to get excited for your video. And when you start thinking about money, if you send people to Patreon and they've never heard of Patreon, that could cause a red flag. Like, oh my goodness, what is this website? Can I trust this? Yeah, exactly. So that's something I would really think about. I started there. with YouTube specifically, but I'd done a lot of courses in the past. And after about a year, as my channel continued to grow, I gained more momentum, more authority. Then I created a group coaching program that allowed me to really create something in a more intentional and specific manner. I went not super high end, but not inexpensive as well, based on knowing how I like to coach people. If I was just getting started for the first time, I would probably create a product that was priced somewhere around $47 to $97, because you don't want to, like, again, put up red flags for people if you're just building your authority and you're just starting to train and coach people. Now, lastly, the thing you can do is you can start coaching people on a personal level almost immediately, but there's something super powerful about having a course already done, because then anybody that comes in can jump in, can spend their money, and you can deliver additional value that they're looking for. So those are some thoughts on monetization. Start right now. Start right now.
Love that shirt. Look at that. That's what I'm talking about. Whoop.
Super.
So,
Yeah, go ahead, David.
So I was going to say, so a method that I'm doing right now is, so I have subscriptions or memberships on YouTube, Twitch, and Facebook now. So what I'm doing is I'm delivering my workshop. I started a new workshop, and it's absolutely free. So what I'm doing is I'm doing the keyword research, and I'm posting those as videos that people can watch on YouTube. But then what I'm doing is, for people who become members on any of those platforms, whatever platform works for them, they're getting a Tuesday and Thursday members only chat stream. It's still public, but they're the only ones that can chat. And then once a week, I'm doing a members only stream. So as them being members, they get extra content for the workshop that I'm doing, and they get that coaching. And I'm using the memberships to do that. Now, I always recommend, if you are somebody that's just getting started, it's better to focus on one platform. So if you're going to do YouTube memberships or whatever, but I happen to have an audience everywhere, because I started on Facebook, and then I became a partner on Twitch and all this. So I have, basically an audience in all three places. So it's really hard to bring those audiences together to get YouTube people to go over to Twitch, or Twitch people to go to Facebook, and all that other stuff. So I'm like, well, I'm just going to do it on all three, since I have the ability to do that. And it's been working out really well. People are subscribing on the platform of their choice. And then they're going to get the coaching and stuff. And what's really cool with that is it allows me to keep the workshop free, because what I want to do is I want to help the people who can't become a member right now, because if you help those people, for free, at some point they'll become the people who can become a member. And then them becoming members helps me keep the workshop free, so that I can help people, because right now a lot of people are struggling. They're looking for ways to monetize and all that. And I feel like, creating content is about all some people can do right now, because we're stuck in our houses. So it's like, what else can we do? So, teaching, I've seen so many businesses come out of this with people that have taken their gyms offline, their yoga classes offline, their dog training offline. Like, all of these people are creating something out of, like, something they learned on Zoom or something. So it's really cool to see, but, a lot of people still struggle with how to monetize it. So.
Boom. Yeah, I'm adding your link right now to the command. There we go. Okay, adding your link right now to the description. So really quick, I just want to let everybody know that everybody on screen right now, let's see here. There we go. There's links to everybody that's on screen right now down in the description below. So like, if you like, the way that they're sharing information, or if something they say resonates with you, or if you just want to learn, live streaming from David, you want to learn about YouTube and editing videos from Daniel, or if you want to learn about YouTube growth and photography from Brian G. Johnson, then, you can find links to all those guys down in the description below, or just search for their names. All roads lead to Rome, except for David Foster, because there's another David Foster that is pretty prominent as well. Drake actually sang about this guy. He's actually one of Drake's songs. So yeah, I don't know about that. But yeah, every time I hear him like, David Foster, I'm like, oh, that's awesome. Yeah, we drive around to that all the time.
I don't know why he doesn't have a tux on. There's no tux. Yeah. What's up, David Foster?
I'll be on phone calls with like banks or something, and they're like, David Foster, not the David Foster, right? Like, would I be on the phone with the bank if I was the David Foster?
You're like, look at my account, man. Look at my account.
Yeah.
Like the David Foster.
My agent would be talking to you.
Hey, let me throw in one last thing when we talk about monetization. I really love what David shared, and this is for everybody. He mentioned free. Like, what can I do for people that's a little bit beyond the YouTube experience that's free? And when I kind of went from a low end course kind of thing, $20 a month, to $500 one-time payment, I started and I wrote this huge sales page, probably took me 5 days. Then I sent it to Daniel Battelle, where is he? Is he? I can't do.
For me,
There
he's
he
to
is.
your right.
Yeah, he's
Or
over
to your
there.
left.
Boom. I can't. I'm never going to try that again. That's a live streaming a strategy or method that I can't. Anyway, he proofed the whole thing, and then I said, "Yeah, this is dumb. I'm not going to do this." And then I spent literally, check this out. I spent 2 weeks creating a webinar. I wrote it out. I created tons of slides, and I did that because I felt if anybody comes through my funnel, if they want more information, then they can go through this free training, which is an hour, and they're going to benefit regardless of if they buy anything or not. And I've always really led by trying to give away as much as possible, which some people, and I'm just going to say this is bad advice. If you ever feel like I need to hold back, do not do that. Because the more you can give away, the easier it is for people to move forward and spend the money with you, because you're really delivering the stuff that's helping them. And furthermore, they start thinking like, man, if I get this for free, what's on the other side when I spend money? And you might be worried, well, what if I don't have anything? Here's the thing. When you start thinking in this manner, you will, because you'll always be learning. You'll always be growing. So really strive to deliver value at any point you can. And when you start really living that way, the money will flow, as long as you make that possibility, create a course and so on.
Well, there's a saying that's like, if you help enough people get what they want, you get what you want. And that's been that's been my philosophy. Like, I love helping people succeed, and I've never had to worry about money. I have never had, since 1996, since I've been online, I've never had to worry, because I just help people. So sometimes you help people and you get nothing out of it, and that's not a big deal. But sometimes you help people and you get everything out of it. So I'm there for the people that get something out of it, not the people who.
That's because you're David Foster.
Well,
Yeah, the David Foster.
I'm going to be playing San Elmo's Fire really quick for you guys.
So the next question that we have here says, I have a hater with YouTube Shorts because the videos have to be vertical. YouTube Shorts have helped my channel grow. I average 100+ month subscribers. Okay, yeah, so I'm not sure what you mean on the hater with YouTube Shorts. I don't know if that means that you don't like them because you have to do vertical, but that's just it's how it is. It's their feature, so they design it around pretty much what the other competitors are doing that are having success, and it's vertical. So because of that, that's the game that needs to be played. Jaron Viper says, hey, I've had a channel for a month, daily content. I've grown my channel by 10. What's the best way to find games to play to grow a community? Who wants it?
I would just say if you're looking, go to Twitch and just look at the top games, and it lists them out in the top, like how many people are playing that game at that time. You can do the same thing on YouTube. You can see exactly how many people are playing. But the thing is, you want to think about is, it's almost better to find a mid-level game that's got some viewers in it than trying to get into the big saturated game where there's like tons of people playing, because most of them, when you get in there, it lists it by viewer count. So if you're somebody that's just getting started and you want to play this game, the viewer count is going to keep you way down at the bottom. So you want to find those mid-level games that you can kind of have a chance to maybe be seen in, rather than don't play Fortnite or Apex Legends or any of those big popular games to start. You might be able to work your way there, but it's hard. It's be a big fish in a little pond rather than a big fish, or what is it? Be a
little fish in a big pond.
Yeah, there you go. Thank you, Brian.
We all get you.
Big fish in a little pond.
Yeah.
Be a poodle.
Be a big fish in a little pond rather than a little fish in a big pond. Yes, that's what it is.
So another one that we have here is from Shrek Travel, saying that huge fan of Dan. Americans veterans appreciate you. So just as a heads up there. And also for clarification, they are saying that they have a hater on YouTube. So to address that one really quick, when it comes to haters on YouTube, it's part of the thing. You're going to have it. People love to hate and troll on YouTube just because of the anonymous nature of it from their end, right? Because you're putting yourself out there, they are not. And for whatever reason, somewhere within their being, they just have the feeling of, hey, I just want to give this person a hard time. So what you can do is if you have specific things that people keep saying to you you over and over again, you can take those things and you can add them to what's called your blocked words list inside of your Creator Studio. And then when people say those things, YouTube will automatically catch it and it'll go into a held for review section in your comments. You don't ever have to look at the held for review section, by the way. In addition to that, you can also, to the right, and this is on a mobile device as well, to the right of every comment that you get on YouTube, you're going to see a little 3-dot menu. If you click on that, then you can have the option to hide user from channel. If you hide the user from channel, then you won't see their comments anymore. So that's a great way to deal with haters. But just know, for everybody here, you know, if you're a YouTube content creator, especially if you're just getting started, you haven't had to deal with this yet, just know that it's part of the gig. And when you do have somebody, you know, come in and say something bad about you in your comments, just be mindful that they're just trying to get a rise out of you. They're trying to, you know, project onto you maybe, or whatever it happens to be. So because of that, just recognize it as part of the gig. Actually look at it as like, hey, sweet, I finally got a hater. Because it's kind of like, you know, like an achievement or a milestone, because, you know, you've kind of made it to that point to where people are, you know, coming in and giving you a hard time.
Well, and I always tell people too, it's like for live streaming tech issues, for tech issues, recording videos, and for trolls, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when, because it will happen. You'll get tech issues, you'll get, you know, trying to record videos, and you will get trolls. And you just have to be prepared to do what you have to do to get past that. Because it can be hard. Some people come in and say some harsh things. When it's the hardest is when they've got a point. when it's like, oh, you know what?
That's the best.
They might be right.
I love it when they're right. I mean, a lot of my haters will say something and be like, God, he got me. He's absolutely right. I have to agree.
You know what I will say about that, though, is like, for me, my experience has been almost always they really don't have a point. And the hate comes from really something that's internal within them, and they're just grasping at anything. And they don't spend enough time on any of our channels to really know. You know what I mean? That's been my experience, except for this one guy. He made a video about how I stole his idea. And
sorry about that, man.
It made me feel really bad on the inside.
Yeah, but I heard that guy had his comeuppance and got tag team in response. So.
Well, it's more like Nick just told me to step aside. Your rap sucks. I got this.
That was a lot of fun. We need to do that again.
So those of you watching right now, out of curiosity, how many of you have seen the rap video that Brian and I did, or the diss track that Daniel did towards Brian? How many people? Just give me a hashtag me if you've seen those, or give me a hashtag I want to if you haven't. And if you want
Nick, let's actually, I thought about this today, and this is on you, Nick. Now, I know we're live, but we're going to do it anyway. So when I start, you just hit the second line. Okay, here we go. Are you ready? Come on, this is your channel. What's the worst that can happen? The whole audience is fail. Are you ready?
Yep, go.
Okay, I got to turn it up here. I'm B to the G.
It's easy to see what you need. It's attention from me.
I'll give you the shout. I'll give you the shout. Get back on the grind and you'll be.
Fail.
Yeah. In my brain, I'm like, I've been streaming already for almost 3 hours, so bear with me. Yeah.
Okay. So, what was David?
Yeah.
What category did that fall under?
Fail.
It's like
Brian G. Johnson versus Nick Nimmin. Ready, fight.
Oh.
Okay, so next time we'll practice.
What is David's channel? Let's see here. All Rounder says, "What's David's channel?" It's Impartial Geeks. Is the
singular.
There's a link down in the description. You might have to refresh the page because I added it while we've been on stream. But it's Impartial Geeks. But if you refresh the page,
it's singular. It's Impartial Geek.
Impartial Geek.
Yeah, no S. No S on that.
Let's see here. YouTube.com. For those of you that haven't seen this yet. We'll just do a quick Brian G. Johnson.
You know, Nick, I think I've thought about this. Like, it would be so dope if we like boom, 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 and then I'm like, okay, come on, I'm throwing it back to you, Nick, and I got nothing.
Man, I just didn't do it. I just didn't have it in me.
It's okay, man. I should have consulted you first.
Hey, just from a little bit of a history on my own part. Rehearsing is really important.
It is.
Yeah. Yeah, and Daniel's like a trained music. I don't know if trained is the right word, but like a professional at one point musician as
Right.
well.
Train wreck.
You understand
Train wreck is what you mean.
probably more than anybody here.
Well, I rehearse all the time because I'm a legend in my own mind. So I just like walk around the house, B to the G. So dorky, man. Dork level 87.
Pull your
Hey,
pants
you know
up.
what? It'll work. It'll work. Okay, so next question that we have here on the list to kind of pull this thing all back together here, we have the Dennis Ball Show. Dennis Ball Show says they upload every other day. They do comedy and puppet content. And the goal of the channel is I'm trying to grow this show and monetize it. The question, doing puppet comedy and after experimenting, settled a game show format with human guests and do some variety spoof videos as well, all with the same central puppet character as a host. Should I focus on only the most popular game show format, or should I still be pushing for other types of content, even if it's more work and gets less views? I also wonder if I should post less, 1 time per week instead of 3. Thoughts?
Let your audience make that decision. Yeah, the audience will tell you. A lot of times I think people make these like, what should I do? What should I do? As if there's some universal answer out there. But the reality is it doesn't matter what type of channel you have. The ability for your target audience to consume the thing that you're creating will let you know exactly what you should be doing. If you just said, I have these other things I do that take a lot more work and get fewer views, then I think that's your audience telling you, we don't enjoy that as much as the other things. So lean on the things that your target audience and your channel tell you that you're doing well, and the other things that don't connect as much, do fewer of those. And I don't mean to exclude testing things out, because sometimes you'll try things and it takes a while for them to catch on, but just try to do things in an intentional manner so that whatever you do, you can look back at the data and say, that worked, that didn't. The things that didn't, I'll do fewer of, and the things that did work, I'll try to do more often.
You know,
Boom.
one thing to always go back to is the more you can craft content that matters to the audience, and the easier it is for them to be excited about what they see, the more likely it's going to work. Because it starts with them seeing and going, oh, that's interesting, click. Now, when you say puppet, like that's not to say that's a bad thing to do, but it's a big ask because it's entertainment. Entertainment is infinitely more challenging, usually, not always, but typically because people start with ideas they think are fun and creative and entertaining. But if you're creating a skit based on something nobody knows about, you ever like hear about a movie, you have no idea what it's about? Like you can't be excited about it until you know. Excuse me. So what I'd say is think
That's
about
pretty much the entire homepage of Netflix.
What's that, Nick?
I said that's almost the entire homepage of Netflix. Like by not knowing all the movies that you're being presented, like I can't say how much time I spend on Netflix just going through and like looking for something like, oh, I think I've heard of this. Maybe I should check this out. Or I'll see like an actor or something that, you know, looks familiar. But like if I haven't heard about it, there's been no hype about it, like I've never been introduced to a movie, then in a lot of cases I'll just like skip right over it. So, you know, just
right. But when you hear about the Fire,
something that I have no clue what to expect.
But when you heard about the Fire Festival, I bet you a lot of us have watched that documentary that was on Hulu or Netflix because it got buzz. So to my point is like, if you can create content that's based on something that's in pop culture, if you can tie in stuff that people are thinking about, it's just going to be a lot easier to get the ball rolling. That's something that I would consider thinking about.
Well, and what this kind of applies, like, would be a way to kind of get your audience involved in helping you create the content. Like, so for my workshop, I was like, well, you know, I'm gonna build this curriculum, and I did. I made this whole curriculum. I was like, I'm gonna go live and I'm gonna talk to my audience about it. And I did, and it ended up changing the whole curriculum because what I found out is people were not in the place I thought they were. And so it kind of helped guide the content. So with those skits and stuff, you can like bring people into the writing process or the creation process and maybe have them, you know, add ideas and stuff like that to get them involved in the content, because then they're going to be invested in watching it when it's complete. So you're getting them invested in the outcome. The more you can get people invested in the outcome of what you're putting out, they're going to be diehard fans getting in there and wanting to see, like, is my line going to make it in there? The thing that I came up with, you know, you turn them from viewers into fans.
Next question that we have is from A Wolf. Says, if you don't have a niche, how do you get started on YouTube? Thanks again. Appreciate the help. So my thoughts on this, and then we can pass this one around, is basically what YouTube says is they say that if you start a YouTube channel, you have no idea what it is that you want to do, then in that case, just experiment with a bunch of different types of content. Anything that comes to mind, give it a shot. And what you need to do in that situation is once you are putting out content on a regular basis and you're just putting out whatever, when you do notice something off, what YouTube recommends in that situation, if you have videos that do exceptionally better than the other content, then like make more content like that. That's what they recommend. Now for you guys, what do you guys what are your thoughts on that? Anybody?
Bueller. Bueller.
This is the thing I would tell you. A lot of people think that you're trying to find this miraculous niche that will suddenly be the thing
What you call me?
I'm sorry, niche Nimmin. It's that thing that, that they're trying to find that thing like this will be successful if I talk about this on YouTube. I try to tell people this thing. There's all kinds of interests you probably have in your life. I'm a guy, I love, playing music. I love riding Harley Davidsons. I was a general contractor for over 3 decades. But the thing that I talk about on YouTube is something I'm passionate about. It's helping creators make better content and grow their YouTube channels. So you don't have to know anything about all these other interests I have for us to have a discussion, because we're talking about making better content, growing a YouTube channel. If you don't have a niche yet, don't try to invent or steal someone's niche. Look inward. What's something in your life that's important, that you have a passion for, that you think other people might have a passion for, where there will be overlap, and focus on that one thing and see what value you can bring to that discussion. Because if you're going to build a channel and you're in it for the long haul, you're going to be 2, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years down the line. And you don't want to just pick something going, yeah, I make meme reviews or something because I saw PewDiePie do it. And it's, you're 4 or 5 years later going, I don't even know how I got here. This is not something I was even interested in. So don't create a trap that you're not going to be able to be passionate about down the line. Find your interests. Find if it's something that other people have interests in, which, to be honest, I think there's an audience for almost anything that can exist out there on YouTube, and then explore how you can bring your voice to that conversation.
Well, and there's somebody that I knew, like they did financial advice, and they're like, I got to figure out how to do this channel. And then I saw a picture and I was like, what is this picture? Well, I take pictures of these miniatures and I make them look real and stuff. I was like, is that what you're passionate about? He's like, yeah, that's what you need to be doing. Like, why in the hell are you doing this financial advice? You need to look at and find something that you would not mind talking about day after day after day. And the thing is, even if you pick something, like I picked something when I first got started, video production, and guess what? I don't do anything near that anymore. You're gonna pivot as you go, but you have to follow that. You have to be willing to follow it, because if you don't, you're gonna get burned out, and then it's gonna become like a job that you hate, and you're like, oh, now I'm doing this thing and I don't like it. I wish I would have done this from the beginning. And that's what, like Daniel's saying, find that. What is that? What is that thing you're passionate about? And see if there's a way to make that engaging and fun, and focus on that.
And I just want to add a little bit on what Daniel and David said. The thing that doesn't matter is the algorithm. Doesn't matter. When you're getting started, it doesn't matter, because the reason you want to think about, like, what am I going to enjoy speaking about in 3 years, is because if you just create anything, like I think Nick mentioned meme reviews, or one of the guys did, it's like you have no passion inside, and it's not going to carry you forward. It's like, the fact of the matter is YouTube is brutally hard no matter what you do. Even if you have the greatest hack or loophole, which does not exist. So sadly, people are looking for this thing that doesn't exist, when if you just follow what you're passionate about, you'll have the ability to keep going when it's tough. And that's why most fail, because they give up when it gets tough. Their expectations are totally out of whack. And here's the thing. If someone was asking about the algorithm, over time, you'll get to learn and understand. And it's just bringing people in and keeping them around. It's so simple, but because it's so hard, it seems like something's missing. And so many people get caught up in this, there must be something missing. And sadly, like, I literally had a coaching call yesterday where the coaching client, it was our second meeting, and 3 days earlier, he told me he had selected his niche. Okay, I'm selecting one now. And then 24 hours after that, he sent me a keyword list of 2 topics. I said, we're not there yet, and that's okay. I'm like, slow down. Like, you're rushing, you're pushing yourself to make a decision. We got all the time in the world. you want to really focus on what is going to be able to sustain you moving forward. Because here's the thing, you know what audiences really dig? They dig people that are passionate about what they do. And when you start doing, like David mentioned, someone doing photography of miniatures and the angles and the lighting, and it looks so dope. When people see that, they get on board. So that's what you want to follow. And here's the thing you want to do too. You got to tell yourself to find a niche. It has to be like, my goal right now over the next few months is to experiment, and I'm going to find a niche that makes sense for me. Don't ask people what niche I should go in. It doesn't matter the keyword scores or any of that stuff. You need to follow your passion and think broad and big term. And then as you start entering into that niche, then you start getting more granular with tactics that will help you boost your views.
Well, and it's a long game too. You can't, you know what I mean? Like I tell people, you want to be able to commit to yourself for 6 to 12 months at the bare minimum. You know, if you go back, one thing that I like to do, what's really fun, is if you go to any YouTube channel of your favorite YouTuber, so like MKBHD or Peter McKinnon or something, go to their channel, go to their video tab, and then sort oldest to newest and watch their first videos and see the progression of where they are now. Because they all started where we all started, with videos that were like, ugh. And the thing is, if what you're after, with YouTube is fortune by doing meme reviews like PewDiePie, you're copying PewDiePie because you want to be famous, you're chasing the wrong thing. You know, the people that follow their passion are the ones become famous because people connect with that person over their passion, not their,
100%. You got to find the thing that's within you that's magical, and that takes time. But here's the thing: it's so incredibly rewarding. If you look at this is amazing. Like, I got to tell you, like, YouTube will change your life. You will have friends, business, money. It's not even work. This isn't work. I used to be a professional chef busting my butt for $35,000 a freaking year. Like, that's crazy. You have to be mental to do that. And a lot of people, they get hung up. Like, I've posted 20 videos. Like, you can't expect to have the kind of results for the folks that have published 200 videos and you've published 20, and you're like, what's wrong? Your expectations are out of line. It's going to be damn hard. Buckle down and move forward.
And forget your subscriber count. There are so many people that fixate on how many viewers they have when they're live streaming. If you have 2 viewers, show up for those 2 viewers, because those 2 viewers are there for you. And those 2 viewers will turn to 4. Those 4 will turn to 8. But if you're like, oh man, I only had 2 viewers on my stream, or I only had, 1 viewer, whatever, I didn't have any viewers. That stuff doesn't matter, because if you have that mindset, you will not grow, because you're focused on the wrong thing. Deliver the value, and the people will grow.
So and with that too, like when you do have like those few amount of people that are participating when you're getting started, it's awesome because you can create deeper relationships with those people and you can get to know them more. And like, as those people are still around, like as you keep doing what it is that you're doing, like you'll always remember those people and you'll always have like a different relationship with them than you do like the rest of your audience as it grows, just because they've been around. You had that opportunity to create that deeper relationship with those people as well.
And those people will end up becoming like your moderators, like your head moderators and stuff. Like, those will be the people that will be deep seated in your community for the rest of your career if you treat them right.
Yep. Word. So the next question that we have here is from Ukrainian Perspective with Veronica Olson. Says how to encourage audience for more super chats and how to reward the especially generous ones. I have a variety from $5 to $500. So when it comes to super chats, one thing, of course, is like service-based stuff. Like one thing that used to generate a ton of super chats on my channel was when I was doing channel reviews. So in that situation, it was service-based. I mean, it's kind of like what we do with the Q&A. That's service-based too. And that's why, like you just gave a super chat so that we could answer this question. So the same exact thing applies, here just on Q&As as well. But basically just coming up and thinking like the people that are coming to you for like relationship advice, like what are some things that you can do for them to where the people that super chat go to the front of the line? Because that's pretty much what we do here is we do everything free. However, when people do super chat, since they put skin in the game, then, we're kind of jerks if we don't move them to the front of the line. So because of that, that's the thing that generates the super chats here as well. So just think like, okay, out of the people that are coming to my channel for relationship advice, what can I do for them that will add value to them? But for some of those people, they'll see the value in that, and then they'll also super chat because of it. Any other thoughts for that, for generating more super chats, guys?
No, that's a big one right there, is paying that extra attention to super chats, because once someone starts usually dropping a super chat and they see the chat sees that person gets more attention, sometimes that can encourage other super chats. One of the things I do is if I have an extremely generous someone who's given me, hundreds of dollars in super chats, I'll invite them into my private Facebook group for members only. And even though they aren't a channel member, I'll give them access to the group so they can hang out and they can come in and they can talk channel growth strategy, because they've invested enough in the thing that I do that I feel I can pay back by bringing them into the group, and they get, a good percentage of the value. They don't get access to all the members only stuff, but I'm really active in that group. So, and I live stream to that group so they can interact and get that extra tier of access to me, and I can help them on their journey as well.
Well, and another thing is calling attention to it. So you'll notice, like when I get super chats on my channel or stars or bits or whatever from Twitch or whatever it is, their name goes up here, my lights flash, a thing pops up on screen that shows what they did. So I'm recognizing them all over my stream. So that and people like that. People like, they want to see the lights flash. They'll just do that just to make the lights flash. And so that's another way to encourage them, is just recognizing them.
So another one here that we have is, in this one, I know, Daniel, you've looked into shorts like a lot. And I know that you and my brother have also made some content on shorts as well. This one is from Shrek Travel, and they say, should my shorts be on a schedule like my main videos? Right now I do 2 main videos per week and 6 shorts. So what's your input on that?
There's another tier to that question. I'd be asking if you're uploading and publishing shorts from the actual shorts camera itself, if you have that mobile app feature, or if you're bringing them up the traditional method, which is just publishing them with, keeping them vertical video, keeping them under 60 seconds and putting #shorts in the title and or description. It sounds like, because you're asking that question, that's exactly what you're doing. Content is content, okay? So understand that shorts can be surfaced in every traffic source that any other piece of content can be surfaced in: search, recommended, browse, and suggested, as well as getting traffic from the short shelf. So I would tell you, if you're publishing shorts and they're sending out notifications, then you want to make sure you're not stepping on the toes of other content. So be intentional about your publishing schedule. Don't put out a piece of content today that's long form at 9 o'clock this morning, and then 3 hours later drop a short that could be potentially sent out as a notification and have your audience competing for impressions, because if someone is met with 2 choices, they can only pick one. So don't become your own competition. Try to schedule things out in a way. Schedule only meaning putting things so that you're allowing all your other content to breathe and being intentional. The same way you would about Nick thinks about when he's going to live stream versus when he's going to drop a new video, right? He's trying to balance that in a way that makes sense. And maybe his live stream reinforces something he just put out and he needed to live stream to back it up. Just be intentional. Think about how that content works together from the viewer's perspective, so you're giving them the most amount of value and presenting it in a way that they will consume all of it effectively to help grow your channel.
Excellent. So Damon Warren says, what do you think about streaming once a month? I think it's fine because that gives you a chance to, directly interact with your community. If you do it once a month or bi-weekly or weekly or daily, whatever it happens to be. I think just going live, the act of going live on your channel, as long as you're in alignment with what your audience comes to you for, then in that situation, I think going live when you can, even if it's once a month is fine. But I would lean on things like David was talking about before, like do it on a schedule. So for example, Daniel and I both stream on the StreamYard channel. And with me on the StreamYard channel, I stream the last Tuesday of every month. So even though it's once a month on the channel, that's the day that I live stream. So anybody that wants to see me over on that channel, they know that I stream over there on that last Tuesday, and I try to share that either in the streams or in their Facebook group or whatever, so that people know that it's happening that Tuesday. So, you know, when it comes to streaming in any capacity, just try to do it on a schedule if you can, because then over time, people will start to know, oh, they go live at this time. So if I want to interact with this person in whatever capacity they do, then in that situation, they know that they can count on that day and time in order to interact with you, even if it's just once a month. Any additional thoughts on that?
Well, and I would add that it totally depends on your content schedule too. If you're asking, should you live stream once a month and that's all you do, that's not going to grow you very fast. That's going to be a very slow grind. And especially if you're not being strategic about that one live stream and doing keyword research and all that other stuff. So if you have a regular content schedule and you're uploading on a regular basis, then yeah, that could work. But like I said, if your goal is to be a live streaming channel, you definitely want to do it more than once. I would argue once a week if you're just getting started and want to live stream.
Boom. So this will be a fun one. So Texas Family Camping says, I need some ideas for live streaming about the subject of camping.
Man, I've done some
brainstorming muscles.
I've done what's called IRL streaming, and I've actually gone camping. And what that is, it's a backpack that I put on, and this or I don't have to even put it on. I can carry it around. It has 4 cellular modems in it, and it has a bonding device. And what that device does is it bonds 4 cellular signals into one signal so that I can send, there it is right there, the Live View Solo that Nick has, and I can bring people out into that environment. We did that many times. We went to the zoos, we went to museums, and just brought people along. So you can actually bring people camping with you, and you can even use, like, I've got this is the Sony A7SC or A7C, I mean. And you can even use these kind of cameras with that, so they have the, you know, with a good low light lens. You could actually have a real. What's that?
I think Brian just had a moment. As soon as you showed that, Brian made some sound effect. I'm not sure what was going on there, but yeah, Brian just had a moment when you showed that camera.
Ooh,
yeah, go ahead. Didn't mean to interrupt.
That camera looks nice.
I got to get one of those. That's
they're so much fun. But yeah, so it's a little bit expensive. It's probably you're looking at about $4,000 setup and then about $1,000 a month to manage. But it is a way to bring people into the environment and actually have them camping with you. And you can sit around, have them by the fire, telling stories. That's what I would do for camping streams, because you're like bringing people, like people you could make videos about it or whatever. But if you can bring people into that environment, that would be huge.
And here's how you do that. If, let's say you don't have the money to buy that fancy gear, like you're just getting started, what do you do? What I would do in any niche, camping,
they'll give you one. That's the first. All right, go ahead.
Is I would really think about what is the value the viewer is after. And in this kind of a situation, it's the feeling and experience of being away from the hustle and bustle and like the calm serenity, the peaceful feeling of being in nature. And when you go camping, grab your phone, like or iPod spin wheel, and record a lot of B-roll. David mentioned the fire. Like, grab some B-roll of the fire with your phone. If you're going for a walk, grab some more B-roll. And then what I would do is I would be like camping stream. Let's talk about like why we love camping. And that's all you have to do. At the core of what we do is we tell stories. Even if it's information, it's like, I bought this camera because it can like do this beautiful stuff with like the blurred background and the low light. And now I have the ability to share my thoughts, but like really being able to tell a story and connect the human experience that people are after is the draw for video or live streaming. And you can do that in that capacity. And that's what I would try to do is recreate that experience. Because that's why, like, think of like, is it called like slow TV? You turn on YouTube and there's like a 4-hour like meditation, peaceful, like birds in the trees. It's the same exact thing. And you can create that in a live stream environment if you have some of those clips or even just a few pictures. It's really just telling that story, I think.
Well, and one thing that that I
Or
would,
as long as your lighting is right, you could hack it together by having a no, because then you'd be doing something that you shouldn't do. So never mind, scratch that. All right, go ahead, David.
I was just going to say, and this all depends too, if you already have an audience. If you don't have an audience, then you're going to have to do something strategic to build that audience while you're doing it. So like you could do tent reviews, or you could do, different camping gear reviews and do them live and build that audience to where then it's like, okay, now we're just going to go on camping excursions and you're bringing them with you. So it's like, it depends on where you are in your journey on your YouTube channel as to how you would do that. But and even doing some of it strategic and some of it just because like the IRL streams that we did were more nurture streams. And what nurture streams are is nurturing your audience, bringing them along on adventures. That's not keywords research or anything. You're not really, we still made money because we had super chats and bits and stuff like that coming in, but that wasn't the focus, right? The focus was just to bring people on a journey and nurture the audience we had already built. But if you're just getting started, that's not really going to do much because you're just going to be streaming to no one. So you got to think about that, where you are in your journey.
Boom. So next up, we've got Luke AFK says, is it a good idea to spam your tags in the description? Not only is that not a good idea, but it's against the community guidelines of YouTube, and you can actually lose your channel because of it. So you absolutely do not want to spam your tags in your video description. That's called
Every time I hear that super chat thing, I'm like, super chat, it's super freaky. Like that's where my mind goes.
So we've got Frank Katzer saying, great live format question. Is it better to start a new channel with weekly videos or revive an old channel? Thoughts?
Yes. Move along.
Just do it.
Boom. Yeah, so basically the idea with starting a new channel or reviving an old channel is what you got to think about is you got to think about the people that are like, if you still have traffic coming into the old channel, like the people that are coming into that channel that are interacting with that content, like are those the right people that you want to reach with the new stuff? If so, then just keep on keeping on with the old channel. If it's not the same people and if it's not who you're actually trying to reach with the new content that you're putting out, then in that situation, start a new channel for it. But in terms of like the age, as long as the videos perform, then the age of the channel doesn't matter. But what is important is the people that are interacting with that channel and making sure that their interests align with what it is that you're going to be doing now. So if they don't align on the old channel, do a new one. If they do align on the old channel, then feel free to go ahead and put it on the old one.
Super chat.
Pentadam Rose says, hey, Nick, my channel is about goth style and the goth subculture. I'm fairly new, but I always get compared to a much bigger YouTuber who makes similar content in a similar style. Should I change? My thought on that is to do you. So like if other people are comparing you because, you're doing you and you just happen to have, some overlap in terms of, your personality traits or, the things that you enjoy, then in that case, it's not a big deal. But if you are trying to emulate that creator and other people are like, hey, you're, being just like them, then in that situation, lean more on trying to do your thing and do you. That's my opinion. Anybody have thoughts on that?
Yeah, I tell people, because we get people asking us all the time, like, I want to do this kind of content, but I'm trying to attract this business audience, so I need to wear a suit and all that stuff. But is that you? No, that is not you. You don't wear a suit. You wear a suit when you go to a cubicle. You wear a suit when you go to an office. That is not you. You want to be 100% you. And there's going to be some things that overlap. Like, for instance, I'm always getting mistaken for George Clooney, which I understand. I can see it. I look in the mirror. I see it. But I'm not George Clooney. Just so you guys know, I am not George Clooney. All right. I am David Foster.
God, David Foster.
I know. I'm sorry.
You were George Clooney impostering as David Foster. Oh my God.
I am a Dapper Dan man, but no, I am not.
I didn't think that you were really George Clooney.
But like, you have to be yourself, because the thing is, if you put something else out there and then you have a moment where you are yourself, people are going to be like, who is this person? And you've connected with them on a false pretense. You've lied to them. What's that, Brian?
I'm B to the G.
B to the G.
Hey, a word that doesn't get used enough when it comes to these kind of discussions is authenticity. Audiences can smell, sense, and trigger their radar if something or someone is authentic or not. If they get the feeling that you're trying to copy someone's steez, if you're trying to do something, we had this discussion earlier about the kind of niche you should be in. You should just be authentic to the thing that you're passionate about and who you are, and just do that. And audiences will know that. They'll feel that authenticity, and they'll attach themselves to it because they can sense that you're the real deal. And whether you're similar to something else, I get told all the time with my hair down, I look like Tom Araya from Slayer. That's okay. I'm not him. I'm not George Clooney either. But the idea is that you know, if you're just authentic to the person that you are and the things that you that are important to you and that you love and that you have passion about, then follow that.
Well, and I think that
authenticity is the place to be. Stake your claim and sing along with me. Cringe King in the house. Is that authentic enough? I'm just trying to be more me.
It is.
It definitely was.
Going for it, but that's the beauty of YouTube, right? Is like the thing with that, right? Like with Brian right there, just like, hey, I'm just going to do my thing. Is the really cool thing about that with YouTube is there's going to be some people that are like, oh my gosh, I can't believe you just did that. And there's going to be other people that are going to be like, oh, that's awesome. And for the people that are like, oh, that's awesome, then they're going to be like, hey, how can I find more Brian? How can I get more of that, what he just did, right? So that's like one of the awesome things about YouTube is there's always going to be that divide, just like there is in the real world. And you just have to embrace the people that are into the newest version of you that you can be.
Let me add one thing. You've got to strive to become the best version of yourself. Sometimes I see people kind of using, well, you know, I'm just being me. And like they refuse to strive to try to grow and become a better version of themselves. And I think that's really important. And I can be incredibly quirky and weird, and some people like that. And I can go give a talk for an hour and be pretty serious. And like finding that balance of finding like who you want to be online is something to consider, and who do you want to bring to the party, kind of a thing.
You know, this conversation in these 4 boxes, I'm going to show my age here, but do you guys remember? This reminds me of that. One of these kids is doing his own thing.
I don't know what that is.
You guys remember that?
I'm probably too old. I'm a lot older than you, so.
Daniel, do you remember?
Well, do you have a sound effect for that?
I don't.
Hold on. Nope, that's not it.
Nope. Somebody in the chat will remember. There you go.
There it is.
Fail.
Brandy Payne says, I have a niche, but I can only find 3 channels with less than 10 videos. So it's either terrible or a gem. How do you know which? It's a great question. So basically she thinks that she's the one of the few or the only person doing what it is that she's doing.
I think a lot of times people get hung up, or they have this idea that I've got a niche, and it's not a niche. It's like you're doing your own thing, and you're so eclectic, and you've niched down so weird that it's like underwater basket weaving in the Southern Hemisphere, and people can't relate. So one of the things you got to think about is you want to create content that people relate to. Okay, so I'm quirky as heck, and that's okay. I can be quirky, I can be serious, but you want to think, what are the topics that matter to an audience? What do I care about? And find that place in the middle.
Boom. So with that said, I want to thank everybody here on the screen right now. David, Daniel, Brian G. Johnson. I want to thank you guys for coming on the stream. Always awesome getting your insights. Of course, I know everybody here loves listening to you guys share the things that you know. Everybody that's been hanging out in the chat today, thank you for hanging out. I hope that you got something from the stream as well. Also, make sure that, you know, and I say this at the end of every stream because it's important, I believe anyway. You know, there's a lot of information shared here, you know, from me for the first part of it, from, you know, everybody here on screen, you know, for the second part. And some of the information that you hear can be like, you know, wow, there's like a lot of things that I need to do. Just focus on like a thing or two over the course of this week until we meet up again next Saturday, and just focus on getting that thing under control. If it's something like, hey, I heard him talk a lot about audience retention, so I don't even know what that is or where that is, so let me go and figure that out and go and start looking at some of the audience retention on my videos. They were talking about CTR, click-through rate. where do I find that? Start looking around for information on that. Like whatever it happens to be for you, of any gym that you happen to pick up here during the live stream, just between now and this time next week, just spend some time on focusing on whatever gym it is that you picked up and trying to apply that to your channel, so that you can get some some solid gains here on YouTube. So again, thank you everybody for watching. Mods, thank you for holding it down. Much appreciated. Everybody have an awesome rest of your week, and we will see you here at 9 a.m. Eastern next Saturday, possibly from a new location. We'll see. So everybody have an awesome rest of your weekend, and we'll talk to you later.